I'm going to get my chat set up here.
All right, we are live. Welcome back. I got my good friend Tim here joining us for this evening's live event. Joey is in the house, and hopefully his mic works. Yeah. He's saying, un momento, por favor.
You know what? It actually
Hey,
probably did this time.
it works.
I didn't have to
Hey.
switch nothing. I just started talking.
Awesome, awesome. Fantastico, senor.
How long,
Bellissimo. Mwah.
how long you been going on? I didn't see any notification. I've been sitting in here for over an hour waiting to see if you were coming on.
Yeah. We started kind of late for this evening. Ben's going to join us.
Okay, cool.
And sorry about that, but Ben's going to join us. DT may join us. And looking forward to a good, unusual outer space technology topic for this evening. Something different, because if
Yeah.
you talk about Linux all the time or Windows, I'm like, but
Yeah.
hopefully tonight so I won't deter too many viewers, as it were. But we'll get started here soon. Again, welcome everybody who's going to be joining in the chat. And if we have any newbies, viewers, please stop by and say hello. This channel was designed for people who need help. Let's face it, we were all newbies as babies, right? Of course. So,
How's it shaking tonight, Joe?
How's the what?
How's it shaking tonight?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Matter of fact, I wanted to tell you, Toss, last
Yes.
night when you went off air,
yeah.
I was up till 2 in the morning and it still showed you being live on that other test stream.
On
It's like it was
Streamlabs, really?
Yeah,
What
I don't think it was doing anything. It was just
Yeah.
looping,
Oh, that's
but
weird.
it still showed the live, and you go in there, and it was.
And where's that link again? Where's that stream at? You said
It was on whatever you had posted last night. I
on
think
my
it,
YouTube, on my YouTube channel.
yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
had two. Remember, I said you were live.
Yeah.
twice?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the second one, and 2 hours later, or well, 2 o'clock in the morning is what it was here, my time in the
Okay.
Midwest.
I don't
I
know.
went to switch to look. I had my subscription list, and it was still
Right.
showing there as being
Okay.
live.
I got to go
So when I
back and check
clicked
it out.
into
Okay.
it
Sorry for
said
the
one
confusion
watch.
to other people. Okay. Again,
Yeah.
that stream. Look, I don't mind making an ass out of myself to try something new. This is a family channel, but I'll say that. See, I suffer. You know, some people. And by the way, hi, Armand. He just subscribed. Thank you, Armand Kokayan. I hope I said welcome to the stream. There's a
Has
joke.
been on before?
Ben has been on before. Yeah.
Wow, what about
We're
Armand?
waiting for Armand. Is this your first time, Armand? If it is, welcome. Everybody say hello. But I was gonna say, when people have ADD, attention deficit disorder,
Yeah.
I have ASS, attention surplus syndrome. Get it, ASS? Okay, all right. Anyway, we'll get started here soon on the topic. I'd like to get Distro to DT on because I want to talk a little bit about Linux and privacy and a little bit of controversy going on the YouTubes and the internet world.
Yeah, he
But
was. I know he was in the chat on Tom's side. Tom's
Yeah,
been on a while.
that's fine.
now, so I don't know if he'll see it.
Armand, it's your first time. Excellent. Thank you for stopping by. This show, this channel, this entity was done for people like you who maybe need help, have questions about Linux or technology. I just want to say hi. Thank you. Welcome. If please check out the links below in the show notes. There's a bunch of links. If you can't support the channel, great, through PayPal. I don't have any corporate sponsorships or anything, but if you can support the channel, that'll be awesome. So thank you. So welcome, Armand. Armand, where are you from, if I may ask? You don't have to say if it bothers you, but just out of curiosity. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about a little bit of news that came out last year that was released to the public from the government that we all trust, sort of, maybe not. And it's called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, or ATIPS. And this was a secret program that, even though it was secret, it wasn't classified. Now figure that out. It was a program paid for by tax dollars, 22 million, which sounds like a Walmart special. That's really cheap for a government program, about the military investigating UFOs. So we're going to talk about that a little bit because they released several, at least one that I saw, several actual footage of a F-18 Hornet. I think that's what they call it. Anyway, an advanced jet fighter. They released the footage, what's called FLIR, nighttime vision FLIR, of the pilot. From what I could hear, this pilot, I think, wanted to poop his pants from what he saw. But we'll talk about that in a second. So welcome, Steve, to the chat. Anselm, welcome. So yeah, we have Joe and Tim here, my good friends here on YouTube, to join us for this Friday evening, May 18th. Beautiful day today here in Steubenville, Ohio, home of Dean Martin. Everybody loves somebody. Wait. It's 2018. Wait. Everybody text somebody sometime.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Egan in the house.
Keegan, what's up, man? Love Dean Martin stuff. I met his daughter, met his daughter last year. Dina, nice lady, beautiful lady. Nice voice, too. Dina, yeah. Daniel Kovacs. Daniel, you made me laugh yesterday. When I did that first test chat, or not really a stream, I think it was you who said, can you OS dudes get your act together because Switch is streaming at the same time? You made me laugh. Thank you. TJ Wolf is in the house. Welcome.
Happened again last night. I think Joe was saying that sometimes he'll watch Switch to Linux and he'll get this thing going and his voice will come up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really, except for Friday nights, for sure, I don't really have a set schedule. I think he does, which is fine, because people can watch these streams later. Steve has been watching Aliens, good movie. Yeah, I don't have a set schedule. I'm hoping to get enough funding for the channel where I know I have that budget to do the upgrades to the channel, then have a schedule. Like I want to bring back the Sunday night news and nonsense. People miss it, and I miss doing it. Have a Sunday thing, night thing, keep the Friday night thing going, have like the Windows Wednesday, something for Windows or something like that, and then one more. And do these maybe at different times so everybody around the world gets a chance to say hello. Even do something at 3 a.m. in the morning if somebody requests it. But I like to get the scheduling and the funding down first to know what I can or cannot do. But yeah, sometimes mine will overlap with somebody else, with Linux, DT, whatever. Sorry about that, but you can watch these later. Frostbite, welcome, XZ. Hello. Yeah, tonight we're going to talk about a little bit of a different piece of operating system that's otherworldly. And somebody mentioned Aliens, good movie. In fact, Ancient Aliens is back on Friday nights at this time, I think, but that's okay. I'll watch that later. Switch is on now. Yeah, I think he's probably going to... Yeah, he starts at 9 p.m., yeah. Frostbite has a question for Tim. How's it going, Tim? He's not feeling too good.
Yeah, I'm just typing that right now. Is my audio okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, please say thanks to Tim. He caught something, and God bless him for coming on the stream. Good sport. Please thank him. And Joe for being... I don't like doing these shows, Dylan. I'll be honest. I'm not a loner guy, being born in New York. But thanks to both of my co-hosts, especially Tim, for coming on sick.
Well.
And thanks to all the viewers. So thank you.
The way that it would go around my house is my wife will get sick of me sitting around whining that I don't feel good. So, in fact, I don't even know what she's doing right now.
Well, tell her we say hello. Tawny, right? Tawny?
Tawny, yeah.
Did you get the car yet? Or they have to find it? You said they got to get one? The car?
Yeah, it looks like we should have it before Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, cool.
Yep, they're doing a dealer locate, and they had one coming into a dealer, I think.
Okay.
Coming into a dealer in the greater Chicago area.
Nice.
Nice. And they were going to do a dealer trade.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, she'll trust me. I drove my cousin's Lexus for years when he wanted me to drive, and I was a chauffeur. She'll love it. Trust me. She'll the finest piece of automotive engineering. Shame on you, GM, Chrysler, and Ford. Shame on you, companies. You should build something like that,
She's pretty jacked up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. Awesome stuff. Awesome.
Fun to see her smile.
Yeah. Audio is fine. Hope you feel better, Tim. Yep. So we had one newbie come in the session. If there's anybody else out there again, and you don't even have to give your real name, but just stop by and say hello. It makes me feel good. I'll be honest that I'm helping someone out there or connecting with someone around the world. We've had people, Italy, France, Morocco, Russia, Spain, Netherlands. I guess I'm doing some right. So anyway, we got Ben coming in the chat. Okay.
Benjamin.
Hello, Ben. Welcome.
I'm sorry.
What happened, man?
I didn't see the link till now. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about it.
I was watching for over an hour, and
yeah.
It's YouTube. It's just YouTube, I mean,
No, don't worry. I didn't send it till the last minute anyway. So that was me.
Oh,
that wasn't you guys. I got started late. Yeah. Mugen is on. That's not your real name. That's fine. You don't have to disclose that you're a drug dealer. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm pick up some nudes, man. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You never know.
Oh, shit.
He could be a techie type guy.
Yeah.
And he's in those types of movies that they showed at my bachelor party. That could be. There's another possibility. You never know.
You know what? I love Al Pacino.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. I love the movie Scarface for his performance. I don't like violent movies, but I like his performance. I know demonetized. Oh well.
Yeah. I got a question for you guys, especially Joe here. I am thinking of getting a new SSD for my HP laptop. It's a 2011 laptop, came with Windows 7, blah, blah, blah. I bought it off eBay. It shipped with Windows 10, but it first came on a mechanical drive, and I switched it to a SanDisk SSD, and the thing is not much improved. So I'm looking on Amazon to get a new SSD, and there's a $36 Silicon Power SSD, and I do have Amazon Prime, and I can get the Silicon one here by Sunday. But if I prime the Samsung $130 500 gig Evo, I can get that one by tomorrow.
I would do the Evo. The other thing is you don't buy SSDs necessarily just by price only. What I usually look at primarily is the read write speeds and the IOPS or the life of them.
Right. Okay.
Well,
they're both SATA 3, okay? But they're both 3, yada yada, and the has a 420 megabyte speed. And
you're kind of breaking up Ben a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Ben, your signals, yeah.
I'm on my 5G Wi-Fi right now.
Really? 5G? Wow.
Yes,
believe it or not, I'm on my 2.4, and the 2.4 will actually will run better than a 5G. You're farther away from your router.
Well, I'm in the living room, and my dad's router is literally up, right next to me.
Oh, okay.
But his office is just around the corner from me. So yeah.
Do you have any electrical running in the wall between?
No. Well, I do have an Ethernet cable that I can plug in. That's not a problem.
Well, all right. Which SanDisk model do you have? Which SanDisk?
I can actually take the laptop's thing right.
I don't want to take up too much. I just thought if you knew off the top of your head. See, if you're gonna Evo, I actually have a Western Digital Blue that I tried, and I really like that as well.
It's a 240 gig SD, and this is the drive right, gigabyte per second.
Okay. Joe, have you had good luck with SSDs? Yeah. I haven't bought an SSD, so I can't really give an honest. But have you had good luck?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx myself, but knock on wood, every SSD I've bought so far, I've had good luck with. My very first one was a Seagate. It was a 600 series.
Okay.
That's still in here. It's 4.5 years old. Then I bought the Samsung Evo, the
Okay.
A50 500 gig. I've got the Western Digital 500 gig, and then the last one that I just bought, which I haven't really put it to the ultimate test, is the PNY. It's 120 gig in that new Dell laptop. And so far, it's been good. And I look at reviews on them too, but the Samsungs are solid. So
Right. Well, there is a cheaper one for $105, and it's 250 gig. And I do have 3 1 TB external hard drives here, so I'm thinking of saving in the extra cash and getting the 250. But I mean, I don't know if I should go the 500 or the 250.
well, the thing is, if depending on how much searching you do, you should be able to, believe it or not, get a Samsung Evo, not the Evo Pro. Necessarily, Evo Pro is a nicer drive, but if you're going to stay on a budget, you should be able to get a 250 gig for sub $100. You should be able to get it in the $89 to $90 range.
Well, they do have other offers on it. Well, the cheapest one they got, but it's used, it's $73.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would buy used.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go used. Yeah. Well,
I've sold used, and there's nothing wrong with them, but you don't always know the history.
No, I mean, if you're buying a used laptop, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I bought a gigabyte motherboard used. Oh God, that was a bad experience. But I'm looking at the prices. I'm gonna when my dad gets home with my mom.
Yeah.
Well, the other one too that isn't bad is Crucial. You know, I know that there was some firmware issues for a while there, but they seem to have gotten those straightened out too.
Yeah. Well, the Crucial drive is actually only $120. So.
Well, you could get an 860 Evo right now on Amazon for $130. It's a 500 gig.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Right, that's the one I was looking at first. Yeah.
Yeah,
so what's a good price between the amount and the price, Joe? What's a good balance of price?
Well, that's a darn good price. I paid $130 for 500 for the 500 I have. It's an 850. This is the next era, the 860 that came out. So that's a darn good price at $130 because they usually go about $20 higher on average than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Normally, you don't see that price unless it's a Black Friday deal or whatever.
So you're saying I should go ahead and get the 500 gig then for that price?
I would. The difference in when you're looking at it depends. If you are you going to use the space for anything? If not, if you don't need the space, then I wouldn't go.
I actually play a lot of games and that sort of thing, so
and I would
get the 500 gig. Yeah.
Does the read-write speed change between the 250 and the 500?
No, it shouldn't. They're built the same. Matter of fact, I want to look at that. I want to see. I'm going to look up the 860 just to make sure. Matter of fact, I'll tell you what's ironic about this is I'll use Newegg as a resource a lot of times, even if I don't always buy from them, because they usually have
their prices are more expensive as far as Amazon.
Well, I'm not even talking about even if their prices were comparable. A lot of times, if you buy from Amazon because it's convenient, they still the way they lay out their listings, it gives you a lot of detailed information about the product more than what Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. So it says, given I have Amazon Prime, I can get it tomorrow if I Prime it. So yeah.
There was a report I read where supposedly Amazon Prime to buy it is worth, to get this, over $700. That's what So, because let's face it, Jeff Bezos, he's in bad shape. He only has about $100 billion. He's gonna have to go on, food stamps pretty soon. But no. Anyway,
DT's in the house.
DT, welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Yeah.
Hey, DT, how you doing?
The 860's got 550 up and sequential 520, and that's up 2. So that doesn't mean it's going to write right up at that top speed. But I usually try to be over in the 500 plus on both of those, and normally you don't have any issues. So it's a no-brainer to me. I would go with that 860 and be done with it, the 500 gig.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tim, what machines do you have? I don't know if I ever asked you. Sorry about that. What do you use?
The machine that I'm on a majority of the time is a when did I buy this? November or December, I can't remember now. HP Pavilion.
Okay.
laptop. I've got 2 other HP laptops. I have an Lenovo laptop,
Yeah.
and then I have a brand new 2 brand new Dell desktops upstairs.
Okay.
One in the office and one in the kitchen.
They should all be Linux friendly, if I recall. As far as I
Every
know.
everything has Mint on it. In fact, I replaced a bunch of computers here recently,
Nice.
about a month ago. And when I got them out of the box, got them set up in their physical location, I didn't even boot into Windows. I put my jump stick
Okay.
in.
Excellent.
And
Cool.
Mint Cinnamon 18.3, and we'll leave them like that probably until
Nice.
I'll probably wait until the snow flies, and then I'll go up to 18 or Mint 19 on them.
Nice. Nice.
I'm not going to waste
I haven't
summertime.
tried Linux Mint in forever.
You know, I've never really installed Linux. You know, I don't think I've ever tried Linux Mint on real hardware ever.
Yeah.
You'll like it. That was Linux Mint was the one. I mean, when I tried Ubuntu first in 06, it wasn't really quite ready for primetime for newbies. But it wasn't until a few years later when Linux Mint came out that I started to think Linux could go mainstream on the desktop. I have to heads off to Linux Mint. After that, I went to Zorn. Then I fell back to Ubuntu. Now it's Ubuntu Mate. But it was Linux Mint that told me as a Windows user, hey, this could work for the masses. So.
Well, I guess for me, it's always, you know, way back in the day, you know, what was Linux Mint? It was basically just Ubuntu with all the multimedia codecs and everything. It's like,
ready to go
well,
out of the box. It was kind of like buying a car, but you don't have to buy, you know, like with, you know, like an extra tire because one is missing, or you know,
Right.
I mean, it was all ready to go. So you know,
And
so
I
hats
really
off
did.
to Linux.
I really didn't need that, so I guess that's why I never tried it. Nowadays, you know, Linux Mint is kind of synonymous with cinnamon. I don't really like cinnamon. So.
Well, I wish you would have tried Mate 1710, though. I know that you did the review on 1804 and you had a couple of issues and concerns. I think, honestly, you would have probably liked 1710 better. Have you ever done anything with 1710, Derek?
I think I did look at 1710 when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. It was better than 1804. The Mate edition was the buggiest 1804, really, of all of them. You know, GNOME was rock solid stable. I never had a single hiccup, no crashes, nothing weird. But Mate, I was having weird stuff going on with it.
I also have TAS. I also have a 2016. I'm sorry, 27-inch iMac that has been sitting in mothballs for the most part, and
because it won't do Linux.
Yeah.
well, I'm actually going to
Yeah.
attempt Ubuntu on it.
Cool.
At some
I
point.
actually have a MacBook Pro 15-inch 2013 late sitting here. I've been trying like a madman to get Linux on this son of a gun. It is going freaking awful.
It's
What are you trying to get on it?
Mac. It's Mac.
What are you trying to install on it, Ben?
You have no idea the hell I've gone through with this thing with Linux.
What distro are you trying to put on it, Ben?
I've tried Ubuntu Mate, Mint, Gen 2, Arch, LFS, you name it. I've tried it. I can only get the NVIDIA card to work. I cannot get both cards to
Have you tried Tylenol? No, I'm just kidding.
work. That's a good one,
Just-
Toss.
But see, that's the problem. You've got 2 video cards in there, which is
Yes, I know. It's,
Yeah.
So
and here's the worst
why
part.
is that so important to run both those cards, though?
Because of the stupid Apple power management stuff.
You know what, Ben?
Because if I don't have both stupid cards working, the energy saver will not work.
Yeah.
Ben, when I was running Elementary, kind of as a full-time deal,
Yes.
I spent a lot of time on the Stack Exchange. Elementary doesn't have their own forum as proper on their website. They have a Stack
Yes.
Exchange.
Yes.
And there was a fair amount of activity. There was a fair amount of activity for trying to get EOS installed on a Mac or an Apple product. And I think some of the answers I saw, I didn't read all of the posts. I think some of the answers actually got upvoted as though there was some success there. So maybe there's
So
an
you're
outlet.
saying I should try Elementary on the computer?
Well, Elementary, I think if you translate what the Elementary guys are saying, try this, try that, would that not by, in some regards, not every, But in some regards, wouldn't that kind of help you with an Ubuntu installation?
Yeah, I might try that
To a
because
degree?
I tried because I know elementary is based on Ubuntu, so I might just try it.
Sure.
Yeah, because
I want to say real quick, sorry, but I see a few new names, I think. Christian, I'm not sure if you're new to a live stream, but if you are, and even if you are not, welcome. We'll get started on the topic here in a minute. I want everybody to have their piece to say something, but welcome all in the chat. Yeah. All right, Ben, go ahead.
And I was I'm gonna try elementary or some version of Ubuntu on it and see how it goes.
Okay.
I'm gonna try the Mate desktop on it just for giggles because or maybe XFCE because I know XFCE pretty darn well and it's worked pretty well for me. The only thing that it's missing is AATIP support. That's the only problem that it's missing.
We talked about this. Was it last night or the night before where that's the major crutch with Linux? How do you ever really know when the hardware or when does the hardware match the software, and that's part of it.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, Mate has a good implementation of it, except like Tim was saying and everybody else, the problem is the Ubuntu Mate 18.04 is buggy. I mean, I will admit.
Really? I don't have problems, yeah. There's a question from Frostbite, by the way, Ben. He says, can you turn off the Intel GPU and just use the NVIDIA-based one on your Mac?
That's the one thing that is problematic about a Mac. They don't use BIOS. They use EFI.
Okay.
EFI-based BIOS. It's purely EFI.
Okay.
You know what?
I haven't had issues with Ubuntu Mate. Yeah.
You got me thinking. I may actually go over. I've got my son dropped his old MacBook Pro back here. He dropped it and damaged something we think on the board. Otherwise, I would play with that one. I know I got it to boot up once from a key with Linux on it, and there was no problem to run it from the key. Believe it or not.
Oh wow!
So I may actually go and just buy one because you've got me curious now. I'm not talking about new. I'll go buy a used one or whatever, unless I can get this one working again. But
yeah, I actually, you know what? What the heck?
Did you try booting it from a USB key just to see if it even boot from the key?
It can do that, yes. Okay. But actually, Joe, just to pure your curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and say hell with it and download Ubuntu Mate right now just to see if it'll work.
I would get. You know what I would do is grab 1710.
Yeah. I'm gonna download Mate 1710. Just.
But by the way, I am still running Studio and I'm loving it. It actually is. It's really nice.
The only concern is it's only supported for 2 more months.
Yeah, 1710 would be but you could do the upgrade.
Yes, because my 1804 is still buggy. It wouldn't be a fair test on there. I'd still put 1710 on it just to see how if you could even run it.
I got it. Well, and I am actually going to dual boot because I don't want to. Well, even though the warranty for Mac OS is no longer there, I still don't want to, risk losing compatibility.
If 1710 worked out for you, though, if you actually get it and you want to keep it, just wait for the 1801, the point release.
1810, yeah.
Okay. Well, they'll have an 1804.1.
Point release. I think it's in July, Alan said. Or
they usually wait 2 months before the first.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's after my birthday because I'll be 27 in July. So
you're a baby still.
Oh, my God.
He's getting old.
Half my age. Less than half.
I don't even remember when I was 27.
I have a pair of dress shoes older than you, Ben.
Oh, my God. Well, Ben, you're the baby. Derek's a baby. Tim's half a baby. Me and Joe are not babies.
Man.
All right, I'm going to wait for Switch to jump on, and then we'll get into tonight's topic. So.
Oh, Switch to Linux is coming on?
Yeah, he finished his stream. Yeah. He's on a roll now. I'm sure he's fired up. So, but I wanted to jump on because I wanted, after we go into the main topic, I would like to bring up a little bit about Linux and privacy and DT. I would like your comments and also Switch. So, but we'll start the main topic here in a second. So,
what are you having tonight, DT?
As far as a beverage,
Yeah.
that's a Belgian beer called Leffy.
Okay.
Leffy?
Yeah, Leffe. Yeah.
It sounds
Cool.
like a cartoon.
No,
Leffy.
it's a great beer.
Okay.
You said the other night you kind of Corona was one of your
Yeah, Corona is one of my go-tos. You know, if I can't find anything better, pretty much everybody has Corona Extra, so I like Corona.
Have you tried Pacifico?
Yeah, I've tried Pacifico. It's really good.
Okay. I found
I've tried most every beer around the world. I actually used to work in the liquor industry for a little while. So, yeah, so I know a lot about beer, wine, everything. But I don't really drink hard liquor too much. I do enjoy a beer. So.
I went out tonight and had dinner, and the bar had the new, what the heck is it? The Bud Light Orange.
Yeah,
and I'm a huge Blue Moon fan. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm sick. The last thing I'm going to do is dehydrate myself even more sucking down a beer. So I
Tim,
gotta wait for a while.
drink. That's like I've got what you've got in the past, and like I said, even when you don't feel thirsty, drink. It does make a difference. You wouldn't think, but staying hydrated. Now, obviously, if you're really bad, go see the doctor.
Yeah.
Speaking of not feeling good, my cousin, I think I had mentioned on the stream, or maybe it was on Switch, that the local Kroger's, the Kroger grocery is remodeling, a big mess, and they're staying open. Guess what happened 2 days? My cousin went shopping. They didn't block off a section. He fell and broke his arm.
Ooh.
He's gonna be okay.
Oh boy.
But I was telling him, and I was thinking, someone's gonna get hurt, and it figures it's someone that I care for. He's gonna be okay. It could have been worse, but anyway. Steve Gunick, welcome to the stream. Joe Petrie, Christian, everybody else. Switch, I check your email because I did send it, and we'll get started on tonight's topic.
His server's button down so tight he won't let it through.
Yeah, in the past he's had some issues with email. I don't know. I just sent him the one that he sent me the last time. Anyway, but hopefully jump on soon. Okay, for those of you who are watching, this is Total OS Today, Total Technology for Beginners and Beyond. This is primarily a technology channel, Windows, Linux, and other technology. Tonight we'll talk about otherworldly technology just to mix things up a bit, and we'll talk a little bit about some privacy in topic number 2.
This is Total OS Today, Total Technology for Beginners.
Someone's got his speakers on.
Tom's got it.
Okay. PCTLC, Scott. There we go.
He needs to fix his speakers. Right.
Echo, 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 echo. Welcome.
You have something burned down in this case again?
I just finished downloading Mate 1710 just now, guys.
Okay.
It only took me like less than 4 minutes.
Interceptor, welcome. So,
yeah, I've got a 300 megabyte internet down here.
Okay.
Hey,
I think there we go.
Hey, Tom, how you
Switch to
doing, man?
Linux is in the house.
It always goes to my junk Hotmail account for some reason.
Well, that's what I had on file on my one. Anyway, so welcome, Switch.
Yeah, I should just forward everything up to the other one.
Very good.
Tom, I don't know if I showed you this before. You're probably not going to like it. Look.
I got a Mac down here below me.
Yeah.
I run all operating systems.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you can do this right?
Yeah, I'm putting Ubuntu Mate 1710 on it.
Very good. I unfortunately run Mac OS.
Well,
Trainer.
suffice it to say,
No, I mean, the thing is, I'm a developer, so
It
I have
works.
to have ready access to every operating system for what I do.
well, speaking of operating systems, my HP here is a Hackintosh.
So why don't you run Mac OS on the Mac and run
Linux on the
Linux on the other one?
I'm a tinker. What can I say?
That's the reason. Then
Okay.
that's a good reason.
Yes,
Let's
I like to tinker, man. What can I say?
let's get to the topic at hand here, and again,
Yeah,
welcome everybody in the chat, everybody who's joining me live, everybody. Tim got caught something, and he was a good sport to come on, and everybody say thanks to Tim, and everybody else here. Check out Switch to Linux on YouTube. Support switch on Patreon. DT, Patreon, and the other guys are too smart to have YouTube channels. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'm not too smart. What are you talking about?
Well, technically, everybody has a YouTube channel.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
I have almost 190 subs.
Actually, not
Okay, all right.
necessarily.
Okay.
You can have Google products and not actually have the system set up. You would have to go into YouTube, sign in
Right.
with your Google account
Yeah.
to set it up.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into the topic at hand. Again, welcome everybody in the chat. In case you're lost, this is Total OS Today, Total Technology for Beginners and Beyond. I dual boot Windows 10 and different versions of Linux. I talk about all kinds of technology and operating systems. Tonight, I thought I would talk about otherworldly technology because this got my attention last year, and it was mentioned again on one of my favorite shows, Ancient Aliens. And this is big. So let me start it by saying this. Our galaxy is called the Milky Way, and it contains about 400 billion stars. Our sun is one of those stars. Each one of those stars probably has some planets like our solar system. And if that's the case, you're talking the number of planets to be into the trillions, if assuming that that mathematical formula is correct. There are approximately, and I just checked this, there are approximately over 2,000 confirmed exoplanets. Exoplanets. That is a planet outside our solar system. Is it possible, just for one of those planets to have advanced life? More advanced than us, meaning interstellar space travel or something more advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, there were over 4,000 UFO sightings. Now, that doesn't mean all flying saucer sightings. UFO, unidentified flying object. Okay, 4,000 just last year. Now, this was released, I think, by the New York Times last year. It's called AATIPS, the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program. This was a secret program, for what I understand, that was not classified. Well, that's kind of canceling each other. Anyway, the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program was a secret funded government project to, I guess, for the military, giving them $22 million to search, identify, and understand UFOs. Either, yes, they are otherworldly or they're not. And this went on. The program began, looks like in 2007, and I think it ended in 2012. Now, all this is online. From what I can tell, copies have been released, actual film footage of jet fighter pilots. And that's what caught my attention to this program. Now, I don't want to show the video for fear of copyright, but you can search it on the web. The plane is an F-18. I think it's an F-18 Hornet. I'm not an expert on planes, but I think it's a very advanced fighter that they use all over the world by the U.S. and on Navy ships, aircraft carriers. And they use something called FLIR, F-L-I-R, night vision, or something that locks onto an object and then tracks it accordingly. So this fighter pilot, who I believe now is retired, he was ordered by his commander. They caught something. He was from San Diego. Now, military guys, pilots, they are trained to defend our country of all kinds of enemies or something unidentified. So this pilot is tracking this thing on his FLIR radar, whatever it's called. Now, I won't go into the whole thing, but he's talking. There is audio, and you can see this thing doing amazing things. He doesn't know what it is. He's saying stuff like, "Oh my God, look at that! Well, look at that thing moving this and that." And as he's talking, I'm getting the impression that he doesn't have a clue. Whatever it is, it's real, and it's almost like he's going to poop his pants. Now, he was asked later on, "What do you think it was?" He says, "I don't know what it was, but I want to fly it." Now, there are several possibilities. This pilot was either drunk, crazy, lying, stupid, or he's telling the truth. Pick one.
Does it have to be just one? It can be a combination.
Well, I suppose you could. Okay, he's going at Mach, whatever speed he's going. This thing that he's chasing to identify, maybe engage, attack, is going way too fast. Now, how fast is an F-18? Mach 2? 1,400 miles an hour? I could be wrong.
I think they're faster than that, yeah.
Probably, let's say 2,000 miles. He he doesn't even, his plane is Mickey Mouse compared to this thing moving. It's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
So he's flying that fast. He's in the suit pressurized. He's probably not drunk because he probably would have wrecked it. Could it be stupid? Well, when it comes to planes flying, I'm stupid. Can I fly it? No. Is he lying? Let's say he was, but the video doesn't lie. It's got numbers and things on there, so that doesn't lie. You know, I think he was telling the truth. He saw something that was clearly not one of ours, not one of the Russians, I suppose it could be, or a foreign government that was doing things at a speed and moving that I think he said we have nothing like that he was aware of that can go that fast or move that way.
That's the thing. He's not aware of it, but it wasn't the Russians. It was probably us.
Okay, well, here's the thing, though. Towards the end of the clip, or at least what they released, the FLIR, the radar, is following this thing. Okay, it's moving like this, right? Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, it does this, and then the G-force would kill any human being, if what I understand. I mean, it's going at, you can't be going 2,000 miles and then make a quick left turn like it doesn't work that way, Yeah. So if the video is accurate, if it's not photoshopped or whatever, and it's accurate, here's the thing. Why would the government first deny UFOs and then set up a program to search UFOs? Well, which is it? I think there is something out there that they don't understand. They feel threatened by it because if these things do exist and if they're, quote, evil, we don't have the technology to beat them, to engage them, to win a war. Now, I'm not saying that, yes, they exist and they're evil. But if there was a program set up, released to the public, and for years the government has denied, no, Roswell was a weather balloon. They denied that, and it's countless others. But then they have a program to investigate these objects because we don't have the technology that they see. But how can you deny it, then accept the fact that you were investigating something like that? Now, that's my personal opinion, But this is big. This program, this AATIP's program, the fact that they are releasing actual footage, assuming it's not doctored, and it could be nowadays computers, but I don't think so. And that pilot, if you listen to I'm telling you, he sounds like one of us. I would say, holy crap, look at that thing move. And the way it's speeding and moving, he can't, even if he was ordered to engage and take it, how? He's helpless. That's my opinion. As far as all this about alien life and this program, this is almost like the smoking gun, short of a spaceship landing in your front yard and two green guys coming out and say, what's up, man, But this program, it's on the web. Check it out. It was a secret program. It's done, as far as I know, it's disbanded. And this money was there, appropriated to identify these things and tell us what they are. And right now, from what I've seen, they are real. It's not the technology that we have, as far as I know, and the military has no way of engaging these things if they are hostile, whether they are domestic, meaning earthwise, or foreign. And that's my piece on the otherworldly technology. I haven't been keeping track of the chat. Personally, I don't think we're alone. The universe is too big. Just 100 years ago, if you would have said one day we'll land on the moon, they would have said, what are you smoking? It's not that far-fetched. We put robots on Mars 100 million miles away, and they take high-def pictures like what we're doing now. That's incredible in the short period of time that the human race has progressed. So who's to say that there aren't other races, whatever, life forms that 100 years ahead of us or more that have the capability of warp drive? And it's been proven that warp drive is theoretically possible. Okay, phasers, shields, invisibility has been proven to be theoretically possible. So that's what I'm getting at. I wanted to share that bit of news that came out last fall. It was mentioned on the special Ancient Aliens, and it got my attention because up until now there really hasn't been anything really tangible or concrete. It's something that's military and a jet fighter pilot literally saying, look at that thing go. And there's nothing he can do except look at his screen. That says a lot. Open for comments or questions or denials, but that's my opinion on the AATIPS program.
That's one thing that I haven't gotten into very much is a lot of the alien programs and a lot of stuff. I have watched a considerable amount on like Area 51 and things like that, but I haven't gotten, like Ancient Aliens and a lot of those shows. I haven't gotten into them much, but it's compelling, that's for sure.
Yeah, I suspect a lot of what are UFO sightings are really just, test planes, from the various governments, but including ours.
Yes, I would have to agree to a point. But when you see this footage of these things pulling these amazing, impossible, like a maneuver, high speed, G-force that would kill a human being, that's where you got to think, wait a minute. If we built it, it's not a human flight. It has to be a robot, I'm assuming, or maybe it's autonomous. I don't know. If one person says, I saw flying saw it, yeah. If 10 people do it, when millions of people see things, can they all be drunk, crazy? You know what I mean,
In my hometown, usually.
Okay, fair enough. When you have military pilots, commercial pilots, airline pilots coming forward saying, hey, I don't know what that thing was, but it was doing things that we cannot do, it makes you wonder.
Yeah, the problem is, like in my life and probably in y'all's, a lot of the people that tell me they've seen UFOs, I recall one of my neighbors many years ago when I was younger. He was an older guy and he had a severe drinking problem. So when he tells me, he saw the aliens, they landed in his backyard and all that, you kind of have to dismiss.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
consider the source.
Former astronauts have come forward. Buzz Aldrin, some others, and they were saying we were not alone on the moon. There was an object out there, whatever that object is. Not because they're gotten older and they're retired and they don't care, they've come forward. But I mean, you can't dismiss that. Astronauts, military guys, whatever, pilots. You can't dismiss all of it. But. For what it's worth, maybe the best is yet to come. That would be the most startling human development in history, to have actual concrete proof that, hey, we saw it, we are not alone, we don't know who or what they are, and hopefully they are kind race or a kind civilization.
But what if they end up being, as the show, played out before our very eyes, what if they end up being the Romulans? In those early Star Trek,
Okay.
What if?
Let's reverse it, DT.
Okay.
We are, quote, the aliens, meaning we have the technology to travel to planets quickly or another star system. We have the warp drive, as it were. Why would we want to go there? Okay, curiosity. Why do we go to Mars? Why went to the moon? Why do we go to the moon?
Because we think at some point we'll profit from it.
Okay.
I mean, that's really
curiosity is one possibility. Profit. Asking for help. Maybe our planet's going to die, is dying, we need help. Control. We'll just take their planet. What other possibilities are there? Just random luck to finding a planet. Those are all the possibilities if, quote, we were the aliens. And maybe this other race is thinking maybe they're coming here out of curiosity. How do we know they weren't here first? How do we know they haven't visited years ago, as in the show Ancient Aliens? Maybe life was seeded here from another planet. They call it transpermia, I think is the word. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm only speculating. I don't know. But like you said, why would they want to come? Well, curiosity, take control. They're concerned about our planet.
Or they could be very courteous and realize there's already intelligent life in the solar system. Just leave them alone.
Or maybe they hit our planet by mistake. They just found it by mistake.
Have you guys ever seen the original The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Excellent movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The old black and white one, yeah.
Yep.
That one's good. The remake, but the original is good, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The whole reason, what was his name? The whole reason Klaatu came to Earth was to say you're going to endanger every other planet. So it's time for you to put a stop to it.
Coding Commander, you had a recruiter come to you for a SpaceX job, software, and you blew him. You didn't want something for Mars mission, and you said no. Why? I'm just curious. Coding, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that could be the next big industry, space
Yeah.
travel.
Okay.
If I had those skills and it was for SpaceX,
Yeah.
I would almost go and do it as a never-ending internship. This just for the ability to be a part of it.
PCTLC says, "How do we know so much about space? I can't even get fast internet." It's politics, I guess. I don't know.
Well, what blows my mind, like when you read history, we knew so much about, our solar system hundreds of years ago. I mean, even like, in the medieval ages and the Renaissance, we were able to figure out so much stuff. I mean, we knew exactly, almost to the exact foot, how the diameter of the Earth, several hundred years ago, because of math. People were able to figure that out just because of the curvature of the Earth and just using simple, calculus, algebra, whatever trick.
Wait,
yeah.
The diameter of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Earth was flat.
No, the people knew about that hundreds of years ago. These people that want to say it's flat now, yeah, they're going backwards in intelligence.
I actually have somebody sent me a link from NASA. I saved it. It's actually somebody sent me the comment in as a YouTube message with a link to a NASA document proving, quote unquote, that the Earth is flat. It's the most hilarious thing because I downloaded it. And the funniest thing is I actually have a friend who worked on the exact project he was doing here. I think it was related to the Swift project. And the funny thing is you read the article and the word flat Earth shows up in the article twice, but if you actually read the context, it's not what they're talking about.
Okay. Here's a little bit of simple way to prove that it is not flat.
Time zones.
Well, okay. No, but this is something more that everybody can physically see. Okay. All right.
By the way, that's actually how the ancients proved the Earth was round, was time zones, because they did sundials, right? And they would have they knew the distance between 2 points. It was 20 miles, 30 miles, and they knew when it was noon at each, and they could see the figure out the curvature of the Earth from that, and then extrapolate it all the way around. So.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. This is how you know the Earth is not flat. Yeah. Look out into the distance. Okay, you look at a distance, and then the sky kind of meets the Earth. If it was flat, you would see out into space, but it curves. It meets the Earth because it's curved. The sky seems to. I mean, it doesn't, but it seems to meet the Earth. So
one place in this country I know of where you can actually see that curvature. And that is just outside of East Wendover, looking over the salt flats. You can actually see the curvature if you climb on top of the mountain.
Ah, okay.
And another reason you know it's curved is architects will tell you that the very long bridges that we have to build sometimes that are several miles long, they have to take into account the curvature of the Earth to build that bridge. So,
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there you go. We have proven that the Earth is round.
Yeah.
Now, after a six-pack, you can deduct anything you want.
The conspiracy theorists, I want to ask them. So we all can pull up Google satellite images. I mean, there's Google satellites that snap photos every hour.
Yeah.
Well, they say those are just manufactured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those pictures where you see the whole Earth.
They say those are manufactured as well.
Right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's take a quick poll here. Switch. What do you think? Aliens? Yes or no?
I go with the no end.
Okay. DT.
What's the question?
Do you believe there's life outside of the Earth? Outside of our? Okay. Yeah. All right. What do you say, Joe?
Yes.
Tim.
I would say there's a good, strong likelihood of it. Yeah.
I would have to say that there is. Yeah, I think you know, with everybody with cell phones, you know, cameras and the internet, I think the best is yet to come in terms of video, photos, stuff like that. But that's my personal opinion. Coding Commander, do they hate us? I hope not. The bridges going to the keys give you nightmares coding? Okay, all right. Fair enough. There's a book out. I want to give a plug, and I can't think of the author's name. I think it's called The Science of Star Trek or something like that. And this scientist basically says, theoretically, he'll buy everything Star Trek has to offer in terms of the technology except the transporter.
No, I was going to say the holodeck, but yeah, the transporter is just
the amount of energy required to do. I mean, he explained it, but putting that aside, yep, warp drive, theory, shields, invisibility, military's testing on that, phasers, lasers, it's all, and maybe the military has it already, I don't know. Putting aside the transporter, everything is possible. And this book was written 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. I can think of the guy's name. Crap. Anyway, check out The Science of Star Trek.
Well, I wonder if he would change his opinion now with the advancement in computer technology. You know, he might change his opinion on that. Because if it's just a simple, you know, we just don't have enough computing power, you know, to break somebody down and then put them back together, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so look, I was and still am a big fan of Star Trek. I think a lot of the technology, you know, Mr. Spock's earpiece, that's Bluetooth, of course, talking computers and all that, you all know. So it's, you know, it's all come to realization. So how far is it going to take for us to create a interstellar drive or a warp drive or something like that? You know, obviously rockets is not going to take us to the other planets. It would just take too long. We need some form of a different kind of engine. Whatever that engine will be called in the future. You know.
I just posted the article from NASA and the places he said to look at for anyone that wants to see that. So put that in the chat. So you can see that, and starting it on page 6, they talk about so they talk about a flat, non-rotating Earth in the summary. The whole paragraph reads, this report documents the derivation and definition of linear aircraft model for a rigid aircraft constant mass flying over flat, non-rotating Earth. The derivation makes no assumptions of reference of trajectory or the vehicle symmetry of the linear system. Equations are derived and evaluated from a general trajectory and include both aircraft dynamics and observation variables. So they're building it for a flat system, which is a scientific way of saying we're eliminating some of the crazy variables to start.
Colin, check your email if you. Yeah, I know it's you. I know PCTLC is you, Colin. I know it's you. If you want to join in, come on. We have plenty of viewers, 44 viewers. I wasn't sure how popular this topic would be. It looks like it's fairly popular. I wanted to mix things up. We'll get to Linux here in a second. Charlie says we have Ion. Is it Eon? I think it's Ion drives. Problem is you can't weigh anything, go fast in FTL currently, along with anti-gravity. Yes, hence the theory of a warp drive where you're bending space to bring its space closer versus physically traveling.
And that's the problem is, you know, the physics. We just haven't worked out the physics. Scientists will tell you that even if we could travel at light speed, that's way too slow.
Right.
We've got to come up with something else.
Yeah, that would be great to go to the Mars in a day versus 6 months or whatever. But you're
At
right.
light speed, you're still not traveling really.
You need
systems.
wormhole technology is what you need.
Yeah,
because a wormhole technology is based on the quantum physics part of tunneling, so you tunnel through a folded atmosphere.
Right. Yeah, it's the idea of bending space to bring that space there closer to you, or whatever they described it as. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I personally love it when I see high definition photos of Jupiter or Mars or whatever's on Mars. You know, supposedly. You know, I think, and I just got confirmation that the aliens use Linux Mint No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh no, they do. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to say no because I am a member of the reptilian alien race. I left this
I
planet.
wonder
a
why
while
you had
ago.
this green glow around you sometimes.
Well, that's the thing because I mean, I had to leave this world. This world's crazy. I had to leave. So,
Coding Commander is against messing with wormholes. Okay. Why you? Because it might be a one-way trip.
yes.
Oh,
If you've ever seen Lost in Space, you understand.
Yeah.
that's yes. Good. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever goes in is not coming out.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds you of Final Countdown, the movie Final Countdown, when they go back to 1941.
That's on the ship. Yeah, that was such a good cheesy movie back in 1980.
I love that movie. You know, it's the idea. It's just
Kirk
kind of
Douglas,
like
right?
future.
Yeah.
The idea of wondering. You know, it's just that. You know, and that's kind of, if you think about it, that storm that they went through was kind of the wormhole effect when you think about it, the way it was rotational and kind of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that wasn't Kirk Douglas. Someone used to do imitation of Kirk Douglas. What do you mean? Talk. I can't do it, but you know.
What's up, Colin?
Hey.
G'day, guys. How you doing?
PCTLC is in the house. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's happening, Colin?
Oh, just listening to you guys. Quite exciting.
What time is it where you're at right now?
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. You're in Australia, of course.
I'm in Australia.
Awesome.
So how do you wake up that early in the morning?
Yeah.
Hey?
Okay. So, Colin, I have to ask you, what's the UFO mentality in Australia? Have you personally seen something, or is it on the news? Do people talk out there in the desert? Do they see?
I haven't seen anything, but many years ago there was a UFO that attacked a bus that was travelling across the Nullarbor. Can't remember what year that was, but it was quite a long time ago. So they're just, I mean, that's a UFO. We don't know where they come from, though, do we? That's the thing.
So some physical thing actually attacked the bus? Is this for real?
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Wow.
That was, because the Nullarbor is in a very remote area because it travels across the whole state from basically east coast to west coast, and it's very remote. So you can, because I've been across there on a bus, and it's a 3-day trip or something. So apparently a bus got attacked by a UFO. It was in the news and everything. So yeah, so that was quite a number of years ago. What's his name? Charlie Brownow's on here. He might remember that story.
I'm not familiar.
Charlie
I'm assuming it wasn't someone playing with a big drone or something. This was something big and physical and.
This is long ago before drones were even a thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm talking maybe 80s or 90s. Maybe I'm not sure. I can't exactly remember when it was, but
Looks like 1988.
1988 was it?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
Oh, you just looked it up, did you?
yeah, I typed in Australian UFO attack on bus.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if it was a bus. It looks like there's a lot of stories about a cricket team getting hit by UFOs or rocks. But there's this one kind of more obscure story. 90 minutes of UFO-induced horror for an Australian family.
Wow.
In 1988.
There are a couple other stories around where my mum lives in Melbourne, because I'm on the west coast, she's on the east coast, and there was a story many years ago about some school kids. I think some woman put it up, I think on Facebook or something, a story where the whole school was shut down to say nothing, and they seen a UFO landed in the school grounds or something. That was quite an interesting story as well. So yeah, there's a few stories out there.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories, but not that one. So what did the witnesses say? Did they come forward?
I think they were told to say nothing, I believe.
What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise. Yeah.
I'm trying to get the story to load and it won't.
Okay.
You search for Australian alien school bus attack. Let's do that. That sounds like a way better way of saying
that
it.
exact phrase. Huh? Sounds like a movie title.
That's right, man.
Well, There you go. I'm not sure how I would react if I was on the bus. I'd probably say, "Oh, geez, forget about it. We're in trouble now," or something, you know.
But it's quite an interesting story. But I mean, I'm a fairly heavy conspiracist, I must say, because I don't really trust anything that happens in this world, to be honest.
Here is in Australia, anti-Semites attack a school bus. I mean, if they're, you know, they could be referring to, you know, resident aliens.
Yeah.
Anti-Semites, never heard of that one. All I remember it was
yeah.
Oh, here we go. I think this might be what you're talking about, Colin. In 1988, a UFO terrorized a family driving across Australia. The UFO chased them, lifted their car in the air, and left the family emotionally scarred and their car damaged.
Right. Nothing about a bus, though? I thought there was a bus one as well. Maybe I've got it
about a bus. Is it okay if I post this link, Toss?
Yeah, go ahead. I think you're a moderator still, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely.
There it is.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to jump off for the evening. So.
Oh, okay. All right, DT.
It was good to see all you.
See you later, Derek.
Tom, Colin, Joe.
All right,
See
buddy.
Derek.
Tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, I'll probably be around tomorrow night.
Okay.
All right.
Take care, Derek.
Okay.
Peace.
See you, bud. Yeah, okay. Gregory,
So
you
it
need
was
to
a
leave?
car, yeah. Looks
Okay.
like it was a car. I don't know why I'm thinking it's a bus, but I thought there was a bus as well.
Okay.
But all right.
Wow.
Okay.
90 minutes. I'm surprised this hasn't been mentioned on like Ancient Aliens or History, or maybe it has and I missed it. Wow.
There's UFOevidence.org has a note about it.
Okay.
Oh no, his images by of a bus attacked by UFO.
There was
that's
physical
only
damage to
images.
the car. Ah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting.
Okay, I can't find the bus one. That's interesting. So yeah, I don't know why I was thinking it was a bus.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, isn't it? Some of these stories.
Charlie asked, do I watch, or anyone does, watch the show called Colony? I have not. That's a sci-fi show. I've seen I have not. The last sci-fi show I got stuck on was probably Battlestar Galactica remake. But I've watched a few others here and there. I couldn't quite get into it. The latest Star Trek Discovery is okay. But the last one I was hooked on was Battlestar Galactica. I thought it was a very well done remake. It was on 4 or 5 years on Sci-Fi. It was very well done in my opinion. But I have not seen Colony. No. I've taken a look at The Expanse, and there's another one. I can't think of it. But yeah, I have not seen Colony, Charlie. No. Orville. I saw bits and pieces of Orville as a spoof, I guess, of Star Trek. That was funny, yes. Okay. Let's, I'd like to go into a second topic if we can and switch. I think you talked about it on your, you mentioned about this thing with the Ubuntu and the telemetry and the data collection, stuff like that. I haven't seen it all. DT mentioned some of it. I did... this privacy thing, you know, I guess it can be a slippery slope. Personally, I don't believe, or hope not, at least right now, I know that what Windows 10 is doing and what Ubuntu or Linux is doing, you really can't compare that, in my opinion, in terms of what the data they are collecting. And Ubuntu and others are being very transparent up front. Do you want to opt in, opt out? And I believe all the collection data is open to the public, which is this true?
I believe that is the case.
Okay.
I think where, of course, the most recent one I did yesterday was mostly a defense of Jupiter Broadcasting attacking QuidSup without actually naming him. And Quitsup left a comment on a video of mine saying that it would have been a lot better if they actually named him, because they make some very accusatory statements in their video about Quitsup's video that they did not provide any way for a listener to verify the information. They couldn't take what Jupiter Broadcasting said and then go over to Quitsup's video, watch it, and go, make up their mind. And that's the thing that's the biggest thing that bothered me about that, is their attitude towards that. Now, what Quitsup's reported on is that even if you say, I don't want to collect data, Ubuntu still collects that data. And so if you go in and you say, no, don't send data, it still sends data. Is it still sending data, really? It sends data that says you've opted out.
Oh, but that's okay.
Well, it depends. It depends. And that's the problem, is that you can't make a generalized assumption. And that's really ultimately what the issue is, because there are legitimately people that cannot have any amount of data collected one way or the other. And that's what the slippery slope is.
Right. Huh. For me, as a dual booter using mostly Linux, I don't, for now, from what I see, I don't have a problem with what Ubuntu is asking. Ubuntu Mate, I guess Linux Mint won't, from what I understand. But from what Ubuntu is at, I don't have a problem. If all it is, they want to see, are you doing, well, they don't have a 32-bit version now, but are 64-bit, how many people, you know, I'm assuming how many people are downloading, or Ubuntu Mate, how many people are using 32-bit versus, I can see where that could be helpful. Bug reports, if that's all it is, and or are you opting in or out, for me, I don't see a problem with that personally. And it's not, now that I understand, I did in the beginning, I'll be honest, but now that I understand, it's nowhere near what Microsoft, if Microsoft would have been fully transparent up front, that would not have been a big problem.
I disagree. I disagree, because Microsoft is collecting information that is way too invasive. Period.
But
Microsoft reaches into your computer, and if they decide, they're going to be the cyber police and decide if they think something on there is questionable or illegal, they're going to turn you over to the police. They're going to take your files. Or they could shut down your system. All that. I mean, it's just,
if they had been transparent and or have a master on-off switch, which they don't. That's what I was trying to get at.
But they are transparent, Toss. It's all in the user agreement.
Well, yeah, okay. So I gotta call my lawyer and read. Yeah, okay.
Well, actually, not entirely. It wasn't until the last release last year that they finally released what the basic telemetry collected.
Okay, and the other thing too. Let's be fair. They didn't tell anybody they were backporting that telemetry into Windows 8 and 7 either.
Yep.
When they should have had a pop up with every update, or when you first install like Ubuntu. Hey, this is what we plan on doing. Is this okay? Just tell us. But with the switch, like a light switch on or off, they just said, we're just going to do it, and we'll worry about the backlash later.
Yeah.
Right. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's right. And the other thing is even with the user agreements with Windows 7 and 8, bottom line, they basically say the same thing. They could change the system, do whatever they want at any time, without notification, I believe, if you really in the short term of what it looks like. So, but does that still make it right? I mean, honestly, like you said many times before, we've had this discussion a million times, but the OS for what it is and how it works is much improved from how many years ago? 30 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was. But the business model is the problem, because we are the product, and all our personal information, our personal data, every file we have on here is the product, and that's where I have a problem. And the truth of the matter is, how are we ever really going to know? We're trusting, but how are we ever really going to know what Linux is collecting either, whether it's Ubuntu or any other one?
Well, the people like Quitsup who spend their time verifying that data. That's how we know.
Quitsup is very, very, very thorough in his videos.
Yeah, he doesn't leave anything vague. He gives you the facts as he sees. Now it's up to you to decipher. Me and Quiz did one show years. I think it was last year on when Linux Mint got hacked and the security and all that. I need to get him on the show again, but I trust him. Now, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to agree and all that,
Correct.
But he presents what I see are facts. Maybe the facts are overblown. I mean, that's up for the viewer to decipher all that. But I believe what he's saying or what he believes he sees and what he's showing.
And he tends to show just about everything that anything that he's putting a test to, or he's putting some validity to.
Yeah, and
He
that
really-
show,
Yep, he really
right?
shows
And he's
it.
backing it up but he's showing you what he sees based on what he sees. Now, could the information be inaccurate? I suppose so. I don't know, but based on what he sees, I did listen to some of that Linux Unplugged switch. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
From what I understand, they had Martin Wimpress from Ubuntu Mate and Alan Poe from Ubuntu on as guests. Two great people, about two people I've spoken to. They're awesome, two nice operating. Even though I reinstalled Ubuntu GNOME on my test machine, Ubuntu Mate, of course, is my Linux standard for newbies, my gold standard. So two great systems, but they had some concerns about some of this maybe being overblown. I don't see it right now being a big problem, but is it possible for the powers that be who collect this data to make their systems better? Is it possible to cross that threshold where it becomes disrespectful?
Yeah. Well, here's some points, though. Some points, and this is the one I did not address in my video, but it's certainly valid. We know that Canonical is looking to do an IPO.
Yes.
To do an IPO, they need to have an estimate number of how many people are on there, because it's going to help. That is ultimately what there is. So if you're talking about them being honestly and transparent, that is not something they're telling us. If you want to be honest and transparent, say we're doing this data so we can collect information about the number of people are on it for our IPO. They're not doing that. They're simply doing the blanket statement everyone else says for better user experience. Ubuntu got going this well without collecting the data. Linux Mint still works on more systems with less problems than anybody else, and they take a stand firm against data collection.
And maybe they can address that in a future announcement or a podcast that they do. When I did my podcast, my discussion with Alan Popey, he's with Canonical and makes Ubuntu. You know what? I don't think security popped into my head, to be honest, because it never occurred to me that I feel insecure even now using Ubuntu or Linux compared to Microsoft. And that's a testament to how wonderful Linux is. The open source community and giving us freedom, choices, and all that. And maybe if I can get a hold of Martin Wimpress, he has agreed to come on. Maybe I'll ask him about that security and how can we clarify this, be more transparent, as it were. But I don't think, as opposed to the other operating system, that Linux or Ubuntu, whatever, is purposely trying to hide something. I don't get that yet. Okay, I just don't feel the evil. I just don't see it.
The next thing you have to worry about is what are the next steps. So as of right now, that initial report collects detailed information about your processor. It collects your screen resolution. It collects the amount of system RAM and a few other little things. Well, what happens when they start looking at all this and they go, well, we really want to know the graphics card. We really want to know more about the configuration. And they start adding more to this. At what point in time do they cross that line? If they're looking for an IPO and they're following the same trends as the other big boys that they might be trying to be like, now we're looking at the possibility of crossing the line. This is why what I'm saying, what QuitSup is saying, we are standing on a very slippery slope, and we have to remember that this is Linux. People switched to Linux to avoid that type of stuff, and so it's going to cause a backlash, and that's kind of the thing.
So maybe just having this conversation is good enough to prevent certain entities to...
Okay, and this conversation is what they're not wanting to have. They called out and said QuitSup's video is full of technically inaccurate information without actually telling people what video it is or without naming him by name, which means that people who are listening to that cannot go back and verify what they're saying. It was an inappropriately done thing.
Well, that's the point I was raising too with this when Ubuntu started all of this is, and you're right, the IPO, because money, they go like this, money changes everything. And I get where they're going to some extent, but is it, like you're saying, Tom, is it going to lead to the same road you're winding up with where Microsoft is? And that's where the argument is, well, Linux is too big of a community and it's never going to happen. Well, you can never say never, number one. Number two, Ubuntu is just one part of it. So it's not like it's the only part of it, but it's a huge part of it, okay? As far as for hardware, I could look at it, okay, well, you're looking at configuration of a machine. If it truly was for those reasons, because one of the things we've had for discussions on here is we could have 6 different machines sitting in this Hangout, all running the same distro, and every one of them is going to potentially act, or could potentially act different. So if it gives them more information to better stabilize an across-the-board type distro or whatever, then I'm okay. I agree with that. But if it's like putting a price tag on the user's head, even though it's a free distro, because becoming an IPO is what's going to probably gain them the bigger amount that they're looking to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Has Canonical really stated the reason of a possible IPO?
I think there was one, well, at least one press release about possibly Tim going for an IPO, which is, I have no problem with that, because they were transparent in releasing that possibility of them doing that. I would like to think that because the Linux community and us are open, the code, the source is open, that it has not been been a problem in the past in terms of, security and privacy. I would hope that remains that way in spite of some of the changes that's going on with them wanting to collect certain information to help them make a better product, fine-tune things, whatever you want to call it. Right now, as a dual booter, I don't feel threatened in Linux in general. You have to keep an open mind to the possibilities, but I don't sense that those entities, whatever, Ubuntu, whatever, are purposely trying to, pull a fast one, as it were. They're going to say this. I don't get that sense now, at least not now anyway. And I think the fact is good that we are talking about it. And hopefully it's not overblown, and maybe that's what... I think
you got a lot of conflicting issues within the Linux community, because you have a lot of people who say, oh, we want Linux to get better, we want it for the masses and so forth. But then if they don't do these things, then that's not going to happen. So, and then there's people who says, we don't want to go that way because you're spying on us. So, I mean, you have the two different sides of the coin. And fair enough, Linux wants to get better and they improve. There's other choices in Linux anyway, which is the best thing. If you don't like it, you do have a choice.
Okay.
You can go to something else that's not doing that. But I can only see that they need. I mean, if you're really that worried about some of these spying issues, download Endless OS and use the offline Wikipedia. Bob's your uncle, isn't it? At the end of the day, you could do that.
Here's the thing. I think market forces will. I think this whole potential problem may self-correct. Let's say that Ubuntu and whatever, ABC Linux or whatever, they decided to say, I'm pure speculation. Let's say they decided, heck, we're going to take all telemetry, whether you like it or not. Market forces, meaning the market, meaning us, the people, will say, wait a minute, ABC Linux is, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to go to that Linux or this Linux that does the opposite. When those forces have the mechanism to self-correct a potential problem of a Linux company distribution going rogue, as it were.
Yeah,
I'm just speculating. I
well,
don't know.
that's exactly how. That's how the whole entire capitalism is supposed to work. That's why if we had competition among ISPs, I wouldn't care quite as much about net neutrality, because that's correct. In the Linux community, that is correct. That would happen. But again, I'm standing against the thing to say we're not. I'm rejecting the concept that they're collecting data for a better user experience because it's been getting better without that. There's other distributions that are also getting better without that. There's tons of positive movement in the Linux community without collecting telemetry.
Yep, that's a good point. But I think also if it stayed exactly how it is now and that's as far as it goes, I think a lot of people would be happy with that as long as it's trusted to stay that way. But as soon as they make another move and take that extra step, like you were talking about, Toss, then that's when people are going to say, "No, I don't want none of this," and forget about it.
But
cheers.
What my fear is though is that this is the frog in the pot. They get us used to this, and then they go more. And frankly, the fact that they're a company at all, and the fact that they're a company looking at a potential IPO, greatly increases the chances that that's.
Well, I mean, based on what I've seen used, I've spoken to Alan Pope last month, Martin Wimpas in the past, and we've exchanged a few comments and email. I don't feel threatened, at least not by Ubuntu Mate or Ubuntu. I don't feel it, and I would hope that sense of security would stay with me, and my feelings are grounded in logic, not just a feeling. I guess time will tell. Time will tell. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, how many people were up in arms when Unity came out and they had the Amazon, extension?
Yeah.
Automatically starting up, which still, I mean, that was a huge deal to the people. Now look at where we're at.
Yeah.
And it is. You keep nudging. So it's okay. This may not be the same comparison analogy, but it's the same thing. It's like gas prices. Okay. All of a sudden they start going up, and people start getting uncomfortable. Next thing you know, they get this jump. I'll use like in our area, get up to $4 a gallon. All of a sudden everybody's up in arms. We're going to have everybody stay home on Wednesday, which is hump day, to make a difference. We're going to boycott, and then we're going to get the surplus. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, gas drops down to $2 a gallon. But then what happens? Then they start playing with it. It jumps up, back down.
Yeah.
Jumps up a little more, back down. Starts creeping up, back down. So they're doing this up and down, but then it keeps gradually going up. Now all of a sudden it's going up again. It's starting to climb up to $3 a gallon in our area, and nobody's screaming. Why? Because you've gotten used to it after the last 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, years of doing it, and it's kind of the same. So the point is, it's kind of the same thing. You keep introducing that little bit, and see until all of a sudden it's painful enough for people to start doing backlash. Then you back off a little bit, and then you start nudging again. So, and I don't know that that's where this is going to go. We could be blowing this all out of proportion, but the reality of it is I think to some extent the writing's on the wall, because I compared it to Firefox. Look at what the heck Firefox is doing too.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what it's done in the past, not even years, several months, with what they keep introducing and the more the poor decisions. Then when all of a sudden the community up in arms, then they back off, and next thing you know, they make another stupid decision that's even worse than the one before that.
Yep.
Tux 13 says gas is $3.99 in California. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We're in a position now where we sort of have to trust what they're doing of the benefit of the operating system itself, which is Ubuntu. I mean, if you look at Windows, you install Windows. Now, I did an installation showing dual booting with Deepin. So I did a Windows install, and I uploaded that to YouTube, and it forces you to put your email address in, and it keeps hiding all the other options just to use as a local user. It's just incredible the way it's done, and most people now are running Windows under their email address. So how much exposure to the outside world for people to throw advertising and that at you, and how easy is it running Windows 10 with your email account? I mean, you're constantly connected to everything, aren't you, at the end of the day?
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping in the end that good triumphs over evil. it's one of those things where, I think as human beings, we fundamentally have the right to privacy, security, respect, and not just us as friends are talking, but in our technology. Now, the reality is that's not always the case. I would hope, okay, and I'm going to direct this at Ubuntu and Ubuntu Mate specifically, but to all the Linux big shots. I would hope that you guys will keep that decency, those fundamental human values in mind, okay, to the powers that be, and we'll continue to keep that philosophy open source and transparency, because that's part of the reason why we are here. I am here because of curiosity. I kept an open mind. Look, I was a Windows user back then with Ubuntu when I said it was Windows XP, but I had an open mind. I was thinking maybe there's something better out there, something different, and here I am today. Simple human curiosity has brought me here to wonderful people like you guys, my friends online. And I would hope that philosophy of decency, of friendship, or whatever you want to call it, stays with whatever Linux company there is, whether it's Ubuntu, Ubuntu Mate, Linux. I hope that stays forever, as it were, and not let the powers of the dark side, the other side, whatever you want to call it, take over. Time will tell, But the mere fact that we are talking about it, and not really posting accusations or blaming it. I think the fact that we're talking, at least is a discussion.
Right.
That being said, we shouldn't hate anybody or a company or an entity. You know what I mean? There's enough hatred in the world. We don't need more freaking hatred.
Yeah.
So, but you can hate an idea of a potential idea or problem that may exist or come to fruition. But I would hope that Ubuntu Mate, Ubuntu whatever, they would keep those fundamental. Look, I mean, what does Ubuntu mean? Humanity towards others. And I hope that statement stays valid for all of us to use any form of Linux.
Well, the other huge difference too in the Linux community versus the Microsoft world, it is a community of people who all have the majority, I would say majority, if not all, have the same beliefs, I would like to think. And that's why everybody's over here. And I would, the fact that we can keep more of a close eye or watch on what is happening and have a say and have a choice to even, if Ubuntu goes down the wrong path, there's still plenty of other platforms to go to.
That's right.
If you didn't like this. So there, at least you feel like you have some possibility of doing something about it as a whole. And it's not like it's just me and you and how many other people complain about the gas prices, but when you get together as a unified number, you make the difference. And the community as a whole, I think, let's face it, as long as Linus is around and Stallman and them, I don't think that it's going to be an issue.
My advice to Ubuntu...
Your typing is getting really overwhelming. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. My advice to the powers that be more like Tom's cat. Fuzzy, adorable, cuddly, loving, you want to spend time with. Or Tim's, can't see for Poodle? What is that?
That is Izzy the Shih Tzu.
The shit. Okay, yeah. Be more like this, cuddly. You want to talk to, cuddle up with, friendly, safe, secure. Be more like that, Ubuntu.
Izzy, look at that. Izzy, look. Izzy, look. That's dinner. Can you say whoop?
Until you realize that my cat's really a space alien, he'll eat the dog for dinner. That's right.
I think you're right in saying though, Toss. It's not hating anything. I mean, I don't hate Windows either. I just don't like.
It's the mechanism. It's the politics.
Bringing up the politics and stuff, though, to be honest, listening to that broadcast that I reviewed on my show, they were not a lot different. And I took more offense at the way they made their presentation than at the the content of the presentation, because it was extremely disingenuous. It was horribly disingenuous. And that's the problem. If you
Perhaps
didn't
what they
watch
should have
that,
done, I
watch
haven't
it.
seen the whole thing or listened to the whole thing, but perhaps what I should have done, switch to say, okay, now in this portion of, what is it, Linux Unplugged, we will talk about something that's been on our minds, and we would like to invite Quids up, an open invitation to come on and, collaborate or refute this. But that being said, we have a problem. Try to be more diplomatic, maybe. Would have helped. I don't know. I just say that's how I would have done it. Like if I seriously had a problem with Ubuntu, I would say, this is my problem, which I don't have a problem. But this is my problem, and I would like to invite Alan Pope or whoever on to talk about it, and go from there. I mean, the only problem I have with Ubuntu, I wish it was faster, and Alan Pope acknowledged that. I think he did. He says it will get better. But like in that vein, like in that mode of understanding and communication, perhaps that would have been better for a show or podcast like that, from what I've heard so far. But I do not feel right now, threatened by Ubuntu or Ubuntu Mate at all right now. And I hope that'll stay that way.
Well, one of the things that I made in my video yesterday was that it was the fact that they don't seem to have any real world knowledge of how people and why people actually use computers. Everything is all for the developer, and what they have forgotten is that there are people who use Linux, including Ubuntu, who are activists who have to have excessive privacy.
Yes.
And any amount of data collection is a dangerous thing for people in those industries. And that's the thing, is that they're just flat out saying there's no reason anybody should ever have a problem with this. And they are saying at the beginning of the thing, maybe we should talk about all this, but it's very clear they don't want to. And
maybe, Tom, maybe you should do a show. Maybe we can do a Life in Linux on examples, and you would have more than I on why people have to be why certain entities have to be anonymous. Maybe that would be a good topic. I don't know. You know more about it than I do.
One of the funny things, I covered this on a tinfoil hat time, is if you're aware of a color laser printer. If you have a color laser printer, it prints out in yellow ink the serial number, times, dates, and usernames of who printed the documents. You can actually hold that up to a blackboard and see the colors. That type of stuff exposed a whistleblower leaking classified documents that were unconstitutional. But the fact that occurred, because the news agency that received the documents, they took those and they just published those ones without filtering and cleaning them first, and that exposed the person who had it. Now, that is the level of thinking you have to be thinking about with this. So as far as digital forensics, computer forensics, to figure out who is using something, you could grab the data from a server on a forum and then grab data from what Ubuntu's done with PopCon or some of the other stuff and figure out who is doing what. And that's the concern that I have, is that there's people who cannot have any of that data leaking. So you have to have the option going on with the ability to say, don't send anything at all. You have to have the option.
Yeah.
And it should be opt-in to send data, not an opt-out.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that's what's caused most of this.
About hating Windows. I don't hate Windows. I very much dislike Microsoft. Okay, that's the distinction, the company behind it. Again, it's because of their business model, their practices, their corporate greed. That's what I have a problem. I don't have a problem with a company making money, because that's what they're out for. But it's how you do this, and I don't like the fact that, and they're just one company. I mean, you don't have a choice with your energy costs because of the big companies that provide that. You don't have a choice for your fuel. You don't have, that kind of stuff. And now their way of pushing or forcing down your throat, that's the issue that I have with this. And yet at the same token, it's like, okay, here's another analogy. It's like food products. You read a label, try to make a conscious decision. But the reality is in this country, there's no obligation for them to put the true facts on those labels at all. So those labels can potentially be worthless, and what you're reading, because they don't have to disclose all the harmful things that may be in there or whatever, even though they say they're supposed to.
I agree with what you're saying, Joe, because for me, I went from Windows XP to Windows 7, and then Windows 8, which I was on for a very short time, to Windows 8.1. And for me, there were two things that made me say, you know what, time to move on. First one was, the operating system didn't keep the consistency to it that I wanted. But secondly, and the overall thing was, I didn't necessarily have a problem with an OS because I can adapt fairly well. I think all of us can because we move distros, how many times. Toss is probably a rare exception because he's not doing a lot of reviews and stuff right now. But for me, it was the company behind the OS. Mm-hmm. And I think when you take all of this and you bring it full fold, if Canonical is going to do an IPO, and if they're going to do an IPO to, let's just say hypothetically, just a guess here, they want to get into the hardware business. Heck, I wouldn't have any problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I still agree very much with the premise of Quid's Up video and what Tom says. If I tell an OS, no, I don't want you to take anything from me, that means that OS is not going to take anything from me. I understand the idea behind why they would at least get a blurb on their screen somewhere, somehow, that says this user has opted out. Do I really have a big problem with that? No. But what I do have a problem with is being told that is happening. So, I think it's a slippery slope. People keep using that terminology.
Well,
it's starting here. Where could it possibly end up if the open source as a community, not the companies that run or maintain any specific distribution, what if the community loses sight of what is happening behind the scenes? And we talked about that before with the whole malware thing that was in a snap package. How can we really expect these? I mean, I think Tom might have the best answer for this. Tom, if you took Linux Mint apart, bone out of the box, straight out of the box, and you took every line of code for the kernel, the desktop environment, and every app that's within the desktop environment, how many lines of code are we talking about there? Are we talking about thousands, hundreds of thousands?
Oh, millions.
Millions. Yeah, millions.
How can we logically, how can anybody logically, outside of an act of faith, when they install an OS on their machine, be comfortable with the idea that all those millions and millions of lines of code have been looked at with a fine-tooth comb?
Well, it's hopefully the maintainers, too.
Ultimately,
yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, though, we don't necessarily need to audit every single line of code. We need to have a reasonable assumption that the system is not doing any communication outside of what we trust. And fortunately, there's software that can do that. So, for example, one of the funny things on Ubuntu is they have the popularity contest installed, but they said on that video that it's not activated by default, and we don't have plans to activate it. Well, why do you have it installed? Because what that does, and the PopCon is certainly more destructive than the other parts, because it collects all the applications in your system, the order that they've been recently used, and ties that to a unique identifier that is both on Canonical server and on your computer that can tie your exact computer to that exact piece of data. So that's certainly more of a dangerous thing. Now, that thing sets to run a weekly cron job, which I believe is like a Sunday morning or a Sunday evening. So once a week, it's going to do that. So what you need to do is set up something like Wireshark or something on a network sniffer, maybe even above your computer, like on a router or something. And you need to have it watching for the system and run the computer for a month and see what everything is doing. And that's what we're pretty sure Linux Mint's pretty good. Now, even Linux Mint, though, makes several different connections because they have the Linux Mint updater. Will make connections to the Linux Mint repos to check for updates. And Firefox, of course, does a lot of weird updates. But I don't know of anything else on Linux Mint that does anything else other than the Linux Mint Updater, which is very easy to turn off. Just turn it off from the startup applications. Turn it on, check updates manually, and turn it back off.
Well, the other thing about Windows is basically the truth of the matter is all this discussion is what we've said from the beginning. You stay offline, you don't have an issue at all. Now, unless they turn around in the OS and put an expiration date where it self-destructs if you don't stay online and keep it up to date and they can keep their sniffing going on, that would be the only other, other side of the coin where you couldn't just run it offline indefinitely. But as of today, from what I know, you can run either of them at Windows 7, 8, or I'm thinking 10. I don't think there's a self-destruct mode on it where it'll stop working after a time if you just don't go online with it. So, I mean, but the truth of the matter is this is the way the world runs. So to me, because, and for those who may or may not have heard this before from us, every one of us, I think the majority of us have at least one other alternative OS, whether it's a Mac or Windows. I have Windows for my accounting, and it doesn't go online. I actually brought it online the other day. Was going to put a print to my printer, and because after 15 seconds of being on there, I go, oh, I don't want this. Let me shut it off, because I got really uncomfortable. Because what am I going to do? All of a sudden, are they going to jump in and put something in there or what? It's like now I've got this paranoia mode. So I thought, you know what? I truly want to keep it offline. It's staying offline. And that's the way computers used to be before the internet came around. And that's when computers were fun. You got the piece of software you needed, you loaded it up, and you did your thing, and you were done. Yeah. This other thing that we're doing now, like what we're doing here and social media and everything else, is just a whole nother world to computing. The truth of the matter is do you need it other than, granted, your YouTube channels, whatever, but do you really need it to be productive for your daily businesses? Well,
that's a curious thing. Because I've been talking to co-hosts about this. He's in high school, latter end of high school, and the reality is they are teaching them only to be an online system. Literally, he took a school trip. Now, I got him hooked up on Linux Mint. He's doing music production, so he's got all sorts of good music production stuff going, which is cool. He's learning finally at like 18 years of age how to save a file on a computer. Because everything is online, and he needs to get me some essays for the book we're working on. And I'm like, he says, well, I didn't have internet. I'm like, dude, you have LibreOffice on your computer, but he doesn't know how to run it. He doesn't know how to open up. A 18-year-old kid who has been on computers since first grade in a technologically advanced school district doesn't know how to boot up a piece of software offline and write a document and save it. That is how technologically unsavvy our youth happen to be. So,
I wish I could say that I'm better.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Joe, no, we really can't run it anymore. At least not most.
Well, that's my point. That's why, as you were jumping in there, I say not really or yes and no, because the truth of the matter is it's an online world. Like, okay, you're a web developer. You have to be online for web development.
Correct. But I'm also an author, and I don't do anything like Google Docs. I actually do a backup file to my Nextcloud install, which is my own private cloud. But even that, I will not allow it to do automatically. I don't do any of that.
I don't think a lot of us now, I think that the way you use your computer has completely changed compared to the 90s, the 80s, well, mainly the 90s and the 2000s, where we were all, like Joe said, we were doing things on the computer. We were downloading our favorite, or not downloading, we would purchase our favorite CD or Microsoft Office and all that, put it on there, use the computer. Now I think we all just jump on our computer and go online, don't we? I think that's the mentality we have now. We don't do things locally anymore.
The most painful thing about Windows in the early days, I remember going back to 3.0 or whatever it was, but even as it progressed, even the XP, was loading it up, getting the drivers all loaded, getting it to work. If you want to corrupting something, because you didn't corrupt it because you were on the internet. You corrupted it because of something else you did, which it was possible to do that because you loaded a third-party software and it didn't like to play nice or whatever. And then you would call Microsoft's tech support, and either you got, and I have to say, probably the majority of the time I got somebody that was very helpful and good and gave us the extended support for something that they normally wouldn't have, or you got somebody that just basically was straight corporate and said, nope, I can't help you with that because it's not got nothing to do with us, and it screwed up the OS. So the most painful part of it was reloading it, because you'd be spending hours or half your day or all day, whatever, trying to get everything to work again. You know, and that's the funny thing is it's gotten better, but it's not much different in today's world. I mean, you load up, you know, Windows now, it's a 3-hour truck by the time you get everything set up again. Where with the thing about Linux, you can load it up in 20 minutes and have it running. The 3 hours that comes with Linux is how much you want to tweak it, how much you want to add, whatever. It's choice. It's not that you have to.
That's right.
So
yeah, I would have to agree there. Although Windows, the last update didn't take as long. It took less than an hour versus more than an hour. I was impressed.
Yeah, but that's still an update. That's not an initial install. And then
okay, fair enough.
It's on top of the updates.
See,
well,
Microsoft, I tried. I can't
software,
win, man.
Yeah, when you add your software, it's, for me, last time I had to rebuild a Microsoft computer, it's all day. It's an all-day process.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Well, I've got to do that because I bought an Intel NUC Skull Canyon, and my work colleague, I'm his second in charge. I bought him one of those as well, set it up with Windows 10. Now he can't. His updates have corrupted something, so it needs to be completely reinstalled because there's certain things he can't get going. And that was that last update that came through, which I think is that build 1.8 something, is it? I think it is.
1803 or 18 something, yeah.
1803, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually on a newer build than that. I'm on the 1672.
Yes.
Are you on the Insiders program, Ben?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I was too a while back, and it was enough.
Yeah, and I don't mean to spoil it, but they actually have. I was going to say they have a full-on dark mode now.
They're following Linux's lead with a lot of things.
Yeah, they have a full-on dark.
Let me take a quick poll here in the chat. We got about 40+ viewers. What do you guys think? You think this thing about privacy is overblown? We need to talk about it. You feel safe now? Just out of curiosity, you know. But I personally, I think we're safe now. I don't feel threatened now. I stress the word now.
I'm happy with the way things are.
Yeah, and I hope it stays that way. I hope they're working on good faith, and we're accepting their answers on good faith, and this is all we're going to use it for. Of course, human beings can be potentially very dumb. That includes me. So
I can be dumb too.
Yeah. Right now, it's benefit of the doubt, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a big difference between being dumb and being deceived. I mean, we are trusting, and we can be deceived, and you know, it's very hard. It's a very fine line that you run there to trust someone and then be deceived, and that's I think that's the big difference. It's not that we're dumb. It's just that what's presented to us appears to be one thing, and it can eventually be another thing. And like Joe's talking about, it's the petrol prices. They slowly go up. They slowly just make you accept it because it's done bit by bit. And but at the moment, I'll have to say, there's a familiar face. I have to say that it's you've got to be trusting of what Ubuntu's doing right now, and leave it at that and see how we go.
Well, there's a lot of discussion. We're not the only discussion going on about this, which means there's a lot of watchful eyes on it. And there's some comfort in that, I think, too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of discussion. We're not the only discussion going on.
Hi, Tux Digital. Michael is in the stream. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Hi, Michael.
And there's some comfort in that, I think.
Who's got their sound on? Is that Someone's got their sound
Someone's
on.
got their speakers exposed.
Yeah, got their speakers on.
Michael.
Michael's got a perplexed
Probably.
look on his face.
He has an innocent look.
He's like, hey, how do I turn this thing on?
You know what he's? You
Hey,
know what he's? You know
Yeah,
what he's
I don't have a proper headset. The only one I've got is like it goes over your in your ears. So,
Michael, can you hear us?
You know what he's saying right now?
What?
I should have gotten home.
Hi, Michael.
It's Kubuntu. That's what it is.
Michael, it's the gear. Go up to the gear at the top of the, and make sure your settings are there for your hardware.
And people wonder why I don't use plasma.
I thought Michael was on. I thought he was a KDE neon
great,
guy.
man. I love
Yeah, he's always on KDE. He runs
Does he
KDE
run-
Neon, I think.
Yeah,
he's on
Neon.
Neon, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Neon.
Worse. Even freaking worse. I
Hope you can figure it out, Michael. Yeah, there is a gear that you can use. I don't know if that's the problem, but
Well,
I
for
know.
the sound in KDE, there's 2 different places to do sound.
Yeah, that's what
stuff.
I
That's
don't
the
like
annoying
about
part.
KDE. It's a bit
that
confusing.
drives me nuts.
Oh yeah, I had that same issue when I was trying Ubuntu 18.04 to one night, and I finally jumped off it when we were doing the Biddle show.
Yeah.
Yep.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he got no? Is his sound working or it just doesn't talk to us? Which one is it?
Can you hear Michael?
He might be able to hear
I
us.
saw your
The
lips
body-
move, but I don't know what you said.
The voice control.
I lip sync. I think he said Windows 10 is awesome. No, I'm just kidding.
He did not say
Yeah,
that.
you can hear. It's the same problem I had. You could hear, but you couldn't get the audio working to speak, and that's where I had the issue
Yeah.
with one night.
Yeah.
And Tom's
Michael.
over there doing
I
the
checked
office.
every
stuff,
setting
right?
was all correct. It was supposed
I'm doing computer surgery.
You look like you're.
You're
well,
sure.
I thought you were redecorating, dude.
Mike, that's the first time I've seen you speechless for this long.
It wasn't intentional.
Perhaps instead of Tux
Oh,
Digital,
what
it's
the
lost
heck are you
lost
doing,
digital.
dude?
Oh, if anybody can figure out, he will.
No,
Yeah.
I'm going to be installing Debian over Ubuntu. I'm wiping Ubuntu off this thing
Okay.
finally.
What,
And,
straight
uh,
Debian? Is that?
Michael,
Yeah,
just boot
I
into
know.
Windows. Don't worry about it. No one's gonna harp you for it. It's okay.
No, I need to. I've been working on building a specialized Chromium app for a phone and a Copperhead OS, and you can't do it on Ubuntu 18. So,
Right. Which
For those of
Debian
you
is
joining,
installing?
sorry. For those of the people joining in late, welcome. If I missed anybody, sorry. Gray Hasroot, I don't know if you're new to the stream, to the channel. Welcome. Please check out the other channels here. Switch to Linux. Excuse me. And of course, Touch Digital. DT left us. PCTLC. And welcome all. You can replay this stream. We've spoken about the topics tonight. I won't go through that again, but you can replay this once this is done. Sometimes I will upload these as a free MP3 download on archive.org when they're ready. So, okay, sorry.
That is a man in thought right there.
I know.
what desktop environment should I run on Debian?
Try. I tell you what zips, absolutely flies on Debian is Mate. I mean, it flies. Try it.
Maybe XFCE. That's what I always go with.
That's fast too.
Did you guys
Yeah,
see that
that's
the first release of Ubuntu 18.10 with the LXQT desktop was released?
Oh, really? No,
The
I
first,
didn't know that.
the first
Really?
test.
Ubuntu's
First
fast
test.
also. It zips, yeah, but I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're making Michael look bad because he's like, he has his own channel. He can figure out everything. Now he's like, crap, why did Toss invite me on this freaking stream?
He's embarrassed.
I know. I think that red in the face.
Michael, I wish I could help
anger.
you. Seriously, I'm sorry. I don't use Plasma, but if that's what you're
I don't
using,
use it either.
one of the reasons is the audio menu setup is not
To solve it, I
user-friendly.
just go with Pavu Control. That's what I do.
He's probably tried
I think he
Off
could have
control.
gotten on. I think he could have gotten onto the chat a little quicker with an Etch-a-Sketch.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to keep
I mean,
score. That's
Michael,
one for
what's
Tim.
the
Very good.
problem? Where are you at?
Oh crap! Did I say?
And
Did I,
there he
just,
goes.
I must have said that out of my.
He's probably he was having the same problems I did. You checked because when I was running Ubuntu 1804,
Yeah.
you checked every setting. I made sure the microphone was set to the proper
Yeah.
setting. I went
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
Hangouts.
Yeah.
No matter what I did, it just seemed like I couldn't get the
Well,
audio.
tell him how
I
to
could
fix
hear.
it, Joe.
What's that?
Tell him how to fix it then. Tell.
Fix
Well, no,
what?
I couldn't get it fixed. Yeah, you know how I fixed it? I jumped off and I came back on. I think at the time it was Mate.
Okay.
Or
Did
did
I make that last comment out loud, or was it my fever-induced state that did it?
You got to listen. You got to
I'm
stop
gonna blame
taking
it on
those
Matt.
freaking loads, man. How many
I'm
times
gonna-
I got to tell you, amigo? No, just kidding.
Michael just flashed on the screen. So I
Michael,
think we
can you hear
him
now?
I can hear you the whole time.
Hey.
Yeah.
But we can hear you.
Yeah.
What'd you
How
do?
did you fix that thing, man? Come
I
on.
switched browsers.
There you go.
Oh, what browser were you on anyway?
Electron frame wrapper thing that I was working on.
Oh, jeez.
Oh God!
Yeah, I would have guessed that in a minute. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael, what are you running right now?
Well, as far as distro or as far as browser?
Distro.
Distros.
Ubuntu 1804, KDE Neon, and Antergos KDE.
Okay.
Oh
It's
Lord!
It's
You're
nice to meet you, by the way.
nutball.
Nice to meet you too. I typically just run Neon and Ubuntu though.
Yeah.
My willingness to mess with Arch is not very high.
Mike,
Okay.
did you ever try KD4?
Yeah.
Try Plasma. What did you think about it?
Functionally fantastic, ugly as crap.
Yeah, it didn't have that good of a theme, fortunately.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though. It's years ago.
Yeah, I tried it as it was phasing out of support. It was freaking awful, dude.
No, a theme is a minuscule thing. You can change it in 5 minutes.
Well, I hate to say, I tried Plasma 5. It was easy to theme, but use-wise, it drove me up the wall.
Functionally, it's basically the same, so I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, I mean, I've been on Linux since 2008, and I have been very struggling to get acquainted with it, unfortunately.
Well, I don't understand. Just use whatever you want. I mean, like, you don't have to use everything and learn everything. You can just enjoy one system.
Well, you see, I've got Asperger's, to put it that way, and unfortunately,
Everything has to be perfect.
Right.
There's no such thing. No system whatsoever is perfect. So.
Right, I know. Well, unfortunately, I've just not found that good that I can keep.
What are you using now, Ben?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, my problem is I've got 5 different laptops here. I'll admit, and 2 desktops, and I just can't.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yes, it is, Toss. You're right.
And I think that's even more than me.
Yeah, it's more than most people have.
Yeah, maybe you should just focus on one and just deal with that.
Right.
Well,
the Dell is what I mostly use.
Yeah, have one and then maybe have one backup and then stop.
I love Dell computers. That's mostly what I use.
The one trick with this particular laptop is it's got dual graphics on it.
Okay. Yeah.
And this does my MacBook Pro. And getting both cards to work on the Dell is not the problem. It has Bumblebee capability. But the Mac? Yeah.
It's just a Mac. That's its problem.
No, I know, dude.
Cool.
Mac OS is not the problem. It's just I want to try some variant of Linux on it.
You know what? I'm going to give you a vote of confidence, man.
What?
Sorry, Michael.
I'm just saying you have 5 laptops. Why do you care if one particular laptop is running Linux or not? Just use Mac on it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I'm a tinkerer. I like to play around.
You can tinker on the other 4.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Keep the one that, like, Ubuntu Mate right now is my one. I don't really tinker. That's because I do this. And my other ones I might mess with.
Yeah, I get it.
But that's what I would do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tinker on my other machine and just keep the MacBook for OS 10. That's probably the better way to look at it.
It's Mac OS is fine. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it's
fine.
okay.
I don't have I mean, I don't like it, but it's not the worst thing.
Yeah,
but I mean, as far as like tinkering, I mean, that's what all of these are for.
Yeah, it's true. And you know, unfortunately, Mac is just getting worse and worse. And I hate to use it, but that's what it's built for. And you know, hopefully,
keep it simple, man. Don't create a problem where a problem doesn't.
It doesn't need to be.
Don't.
Right.
You know, this is why after 2,000 videos, I stopped distro hopping. I focus on one. Ubuntu Mate for now. And that might change, but for now, I may do distro review hopping, as it were. But as far as installing what I use, stick to this and save me a lot of headache. I mean, it's a lot of videos, a lot of the days I used to hop, but it's like it's not necessary anymore, you know. Yeah.
I mean, you're right. So
I mean, pick one Linux that you like and just keep it.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. And if Mac OS is your favorite, that's fine, you know.
Yeah, Mac OS is a good system. But
I think I'd like your laptop stuff. I'd be interested to see if you ought to put Studio 1804 on there and see what you think of it, because it's XFCE and I
might.
I'm really surprised.
I could install it in my other. Yeah, right now the last thing I did, I got that ThinkPad machine with less than a gig, and I was able to live stream with less than a gig of RAM thanks to Linux with Peppermint.
But
OS.
I don't think I put on there with
No.
Did you do that on Peppermint 8?
Yeah, and I did the full install because I wanted to see what it was like with its Mac.
I understand. No, I didn't, Tom. I didn't hook up my webcam because I figured the RAM usage would shoot up.
That would kill it.
But I mean, if it had 2 gigs of RAM, which is what the machine can take, if I had a spare RAM stick, I thought I did, but it didn't work. I mean, I don't have any of them.
Maybe I should try streaming. Maybe I should try streaming on my Peppermint computer with the integrated webcam. That'd be interesting to see if it works.
If you have enough RAM, it'll work. It may not be clear or anything.
It's 2 gigs.
That should be enough, I would say. Yeah.
Oh, Ross, you know what I found out? I was on Arch the other day, and I was searching the AUR for Numix themes, you know, and I actually stumbled across an XFCE Numix theme with high DPI support. It might be worth looking into, actually.
Well,
XFCE itself doesn't have high DPI support, so that doesn't seem possible at all.
Well, ironically, I did see it in the AUR.
Really?
It doesn't mean it works.
Yeah, that's a lot
it doesn't mean it'll work. Yeah.
I'm not going to bother because, you know, if the desktop itself doesn't have native support like that, then it's not worth it.
I mean,
keep in mind that AUR means, hey, you're really crazy. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, you're crazy.
Hey, you're really crazy. Michael, you came in late, but we had 2 topics tonight, but the second topic was we were talking about the issue on the internet about privacy and, you know, Ubuntu and the telemetry and the data collection. What are your thoughts
I'm
about?
Completely for.
For
what?
I'm sorry. What?
Data collection.
You're for data collection. Okay.
I'm for this particular usage. The way they're doing it, the purpose of it. I'm absolutely for it because it is completely anonymous by default.
Right.
It has no actual, you know, there's the IPs are not stored or anything. There's no machine ID. There's no anything that associates anyone to anything.
Yeah.
It is completely anonymous.
Okay.
And the data that they're collecting is stuff you would give freely with NeoFetch or ScreenFetch on a Google Plus community randomly if you wanted to. Like, it's information that you would give out anyway, and it's very vital to have that kind of information at a grand scale, because the distros can make decisions based on the data rather than random shots in the dark.
Michael, now that's one of the things I raised about it for a question. I said, you know, if they were doing it because we've all complained about this, maybe one particular distro running different on everybody else's machine, could this potentially help bring a continuity to that across hardware?
Yeah, They would know what kind of hardware is being used. How many people are using AMD versus NVIDIA? How many people are using certain resolutions, certain like types of manufacturers, like even like the Dell. If you're a Dell user or an Asus user, that kind of information could provide a plethora of benefits to making decisions on how to improve, how to fix bugs, how to prioritize things, how many people are affected by this particular bug. Well, we know how many people are using this particular manufacturer. We can focus on this bug first and then go to the other manufacturers after, because more people are going to be affected, so we can fix more people first. Like, there's so many different variables that this is beneficial, and the fact that people are bothered by it is shocking, because I would have voted for them to do this a decade ago.
Yeah, but I think part of it is because of the world we've come from, especially if you've come to Linux from a Windows world. I think that's why there's a certain level of mistrust.
Yeah, but you can mistrust. I mean, it's unfair to say that Canonical is automatically not trustable because Microsoft is garbage. Because it's like,
no, it's not just that too. It's like you were saying, because the discussion earlier was, like Tom said, because of the IPO behind it. Is there more than just that? You can't help but by nature be a little suspicious again, because it's like, oh, you get stung by a bee. Are you going to be around bees again? Right away. Or,
bees don't actually attack you unless you attack them. Right,
but the point is okay. You all right? You drink an outdated, you get a spoiled something, you drink it, and it's like you're going to want to have it again. I guess that's the analogy. I keep putting analogies with it. But the point is it's just you're coming from a tainted environment. Hopefully, this is better.
There's one thing but that's why I think people should separate the ideas. If they're from Microsoft, if they're coming from Microsoft and they see this as a negative, they'd have to look into it more, because yes, Microsoft is absolutely taking data without regard, and they're doing it specifically to know who you are and to know what you're doing and everything that they could possibly get. That is not what Canonical is doing. And Canonical's also open about what they're doing. Everyone who decides to send the data can easily look at what the data is immediately just by running in command. That's all they have to do.
I don't think, in fairness, I don't think everybody's looking at this exactly as Microsoft. It's just a concern that you don't wind up there eventually. I guess that's the thing.
How many years has Ubuntu and Canonical been blamed in hysteria about them, that they've never done the things that people have said they've done?
They also, though, haven't been at the verge of an IPO.
So what? They're going to get more money. Red Hat is an IPO. They've already been public for years. Yeah. Like, why do people not hate Red Hat for being a public company? It's the same thing.
What data are they collecting on personal and private users?
Fedora is. Literally, yes. Fedora has a thing. By the way, there is in the first run wizard that is using Ubuntu to collect data. There's a first run wizard in Fedora that does the same thing. And guess what? It is opt out. And people hate Canonical for doing this, but don't care because the glorious Red Hat is what? Why?
Well, for me, I don't hate Canonical.
I'm not saying you do. I'm saying there's so many people in the community that are just vicious to Canonical who are doing the same thing, like even and more openly admitting they're doing it, telling you transparently what they're getting, even to the point of saying, we're going to show you the data. We're not just collecting it for our own sake. We're going to share it and everyone can use it. But Fedora has already been doing it for a while, and we have no idea what they're doing with that data. But Canonical being public and open about it, hate them. Fedora doing it, ignore it completely.
Well, that's a little bit of a misdirect, though.
No, it's the whole point is they're neither.
Well, here's first and foremost is I'm not all that concerned. Like, I'm not as knowledgeable at Fedora because I've never traditionally liked it. I don't care for GNOME. I don't know how to run all the systems. I've installed Fedora 1 or 2 times. So now, what are they using? What are they collecting? Is it PopCon or is it some other method? What's
PopCon is a Debian-based thing. They have their own thing.
What's that?
PopCon is a Debian thing. By the way, PopCon is included by default in Ubuntu and is not turned on.
Correct. And I've been very clear about that with people. Correct. It is not turned on. And that's probably good. I'm curious why it's
I don't have a problem with them having it turned on.
Yeah. Well, what my argument is, coming from somebody who worked in the field of activism, it is a big deal. The fact that any data collection is collected from anybody's computer who works in those types of fields. So you're kind of approaching it from the same direction that I was talking about, approaching it from the development perspective, a developer's perspective, not a user's perspective, saying what are the types of things that we need as users.
No, because the user has the right to not send it.
But if you say not to send it, it still sends data.
It sends, you chose not to send it.
Correct.
That's all.
Correct.
That's good.
If I may digress just for 1 sec, we need to give Tim some love for sticking on with a temperature of 101.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He caught something he told me, but anyway, Tim, if you need to get off, you don't feel good, we'll talk later, but you know.
I'll hang on here for a little bit more.
Okay.
Guys.
I'm sorry, Michael.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Well, it is a hot topic. Haha. Anyway, moving on.
I'm just saying, like, there's.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah.
There's legitimate reasons it's bad. That's what I'm saying.
No, not for Ubuntu. None of the reasons people have given have any validity whatsoever.
Well, I would disagree with you.
What? Give me one.
I've been giving you them. There are people in the activist field that can have a 0 about the systems that they're using being released in any way, because it's possible it could, the data being sent could be intercepted.
Your system is not sent.
What's that?
If you choose not to send it, your system data is not sent.
If you choose not to send it, there's still a ping coming from your computer to their computer. That could possibly be intercepted. And even though Ubuntu may not store the IP, you're telling me that people cannot crack encryption.
That is the purpose of encryption. It is incredibly hard to crack encryption. Yes.
And if somebody like an NSA, a whistleblower, an FBI wanted to, could they?
To attack you? Yes. To attack Canonical? Unlikely, because of how much massive attack.
That's what I'm talking about.
That would be.
I'm talking about.
If they would attack
I'm talking about whistleblowers. I'm talking about people.
If they attack they can attack individuals regardless of whatever they want. They can attack your system and take anything they want at any point.
And what I'm saying is that there are legitimate reasons people would not want anything being sent, and that is why several people moved to the Linux community. That's what I'm saying. And it's wise to acknowledge that and respect.
The people who don't refuse to use those kind of things would be using something like Tails that sends nothing that has no storage whatsoever, and they would use air-gapped computers because they're more worried about like literally going to any website whatsoever. So I think that's an extreme that doesn't apply to this particular situation, this scenario. I mean,
I would disagree with you.
Why would they be using Ubuntu instead of something that's specifically tailored for the privacy and security that guarantees that when you turn it off, nothing is stored?
Well, what I'm saying is that there are people that do. Whether or not that's a good thing or not is a different story. That's what I'm saying, is that there's legitimate reasons not to have that data there. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but those people don't need to use the system, and if they're aware of that, they need to take that consideration. They should be aware of the other options.
Yeah, but this is going back to the same point I'm saying, is that they're not listening to some people who do have legitimate concerns. They're just doing what they want to do. And to the hell with anybody's thoughts.
But those people who have the legitimate concerns should not be using that kind of distro anyway.
I agree, but that doesn't mean they won't.
Yeah, you don't completely just obliterate all potential good from a tiny potential negative that they shouldn't even be using in the first place.
Michael, let me ask you a hypothetical. We talked about this before you came. Sorry about that, but. Where would you draw the line? Where would be that threshold where you would say, you know what, this is wrong? Where would it be? That?
If there's any identifiable information at all, I would have a problem with it.
Okay.
The fact that there isn't is why I don't have a problem.
Okay.
Well, simple, Michael, you understand more about what's going on under the hood or behind than any of us do. We're just, no matter what our knowledge base is, there's still users, anybody else, and because you're a developer and things like that, you're going to understand more than we ever would. So,
well, I'm not saying that.
Reassuring to have you to say those things. So,
okay, well, I'm glad I can help. I'm not trying to be like saying that data collection outright. I had one person comment saying that my comments were trying to claim that I'm inherently for data collection regardless of what it is. It was like, what?
No.
Like, that's an extreme I had never said, but they still try to associate. They're trying to put words in my mouth, and it's like, I am for this particular situation because they're not taking any identifiable information. They're taking information that you choose as a user to send them, and that's it. I don't have a problem.
I think we can agree here that we're all for the common good.
Yep.
So in this case, the collection of some data, specific data that could benefit in some capacity all of us, right, Michael? That's what you're saying.
The fact that they're making the data public as well, that makes it like incredibly potential. Like the amount of benefits it has is like the likelihood that anyone would be affected negatively is so small that I don't understand like the big, like to just outright cut it at the leg and like say you can't have it regardless.
Michael, you said there was a terminal command to find out what can you post that in the chat to find out what they're collecting? Do you know what that is?
I believe it's Ubuntu dash reports that show.
But you can,
that's all it is? Oh, okay.
You can actually do that on the installer. You can choose to show what the information is on the installer as well
before you send it, and you can also show it to you at any time.
That's right.
Okay.
What do you think about? Okay. I'm just interested, Michael. What do you think about what I think it was Quids Up last video? I think it was about the.
I disagree with the entire video.
Okay.
If you're referring to the one about the data, about how to turn off the data collection, he didn't even turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
And he broke the system.
No,
he broke the ability for the system to ever upgrade for like full.
And he told you that. Yes.
He did not remove the sending of the information anyway, because that's not how it works. No, he didn't. He doesn't understand how it works. It does not work that way.
How does it work? How does it actually collect and send the data?
PolicyKit sends the information with system control. That is how it works. Ubuntu report provides what the information is. That's it. It's not what it sends it. So the fact that he turned off something that doesn't have anything to do with what's sent. He didn't tell you. He doesn't know.
Well, let him know that.
Fine if you want to do that, go ahead. But in my opinion, just don't use Ubuntu if you feel that strongly about it.
I think that's kind of the point.
I don't think people should feel strongly about it, but if they do, then that's
Michael, switch everybody. I had to install Ubuntu report show. I just did the command. It's showing version OEM 1804. It's Lenovo, CPU, Arch. I don't know what Arch AMD 64 RAM. What's the Arch mean? Architecture.
Architecture.
Okay, all right. Duh. Screen resolution, auto login, live patch, false. That means I got it turned off? Is that what that means?
It means if you have auto login on or off, and if you have live patch on or off.
Got it. DE, Mate, Type X11, Time Zone America, New York. And that's where it ends. So that's all that I've been sharing.
Different. Mine shows some stuff.
Okay.
It shows the distro I'm using, the release notes, AMD, partition method, which use device, downloading updates, true, language, English, minimal, false, which I didn't. I loaded the full version.
Yeah, mine is not a lot.
But add-ons, true. And it's got a list of stages. It's got language, console setup, wireless, prepare, Ubuntu Studio packages, part man, start, install, time zone, user setup, user done, and done.
That's very.
No, it's not.
That's not anything.
If I can talk through a list that quick, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
I think the comments that are consistent across the board is that the people are concerned about the slippery slope. It's the slippery slope that I keep hearing about. So are they going to take it any further, or is it just going to be like this? I mean, I think
slippery slope is the argument people say all the time to try to avoid legitimate concerns, like to avoid to try to bring something that is a negative where they don't actually have any reason to believe it's a negative. They just want to believe it's a negative.
Well, unfortunately, history has shown that human beings have the amazing recurring capacity potential to do stupid things. Now, that's what everybody is worried about.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
but
not
we,
saying that it will
but
lead. I'm not
history is
saying
not
that's what
shown
it is.
canonical to do it. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because in the sense that people blame other people's actions for someone else. Like it's like the son being charged for the father's crimes thing. It's like, and this is not even that. This is completely irrelevant people being charged from completely irrelevant things that other people did. It's like,
okay,
it's not fair to be against something just because other people happen to be bad. If Canonical had done something that was actually nefarious before, I would be against it. Like I would not be against the decision. I would be more understanding of the decisions that people are making out to be for this. And I know people are going to go with the Amazon thing. It's like, that's not even true of what they said that it was in the first place. So like, it was very stupid for them to have done it, but it wasn't nefarious. And that's right. The line.
I kind of have a question.
But it was the point that it was there, and that's what I was raising before. It's just the fact that it was there, and it kind of sent everybody into a tizzy over what it was a. And then they changed.
You have a question? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is from. I do not have any education close to Tom or to Michael. I'm probably the least educated here. I'm just a desktop user. When I run Ubuntu report show, it's got partition method crypto. I encrypted the drive when I installed. Download updates true. Minimal is false. Restricted add-ons is true. Now, I don't quite remember if I clicked that box or not, but if I did, I did.
It's the one where it says you want to have MP3s and stuff.
Yeah, and typically I don't do that. I just download things other than Flash. But
the Flash doesn't come with that anymore. I'm pretty sure.
Doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, when you install the restricted add-ons, you install what would be considered proprietary software on an open source system. True or false?
Technically, neither.
Okay.
Because I mean, it depends on your level of like how much do you care about it being open source or not.
Okay.
Because is it more open source to not have them? Yes. Is it outright completely free software? No. And neither is most distros. Like for example, Fedora is 100% free and open source, except for two things, which completely, and the fact that it's not 100% breaks the entire approach of being it. But the reason they do it is for compatibility of hardware. The same thing, like some binary blobs that make compatibility of hardware easier is a compromise that people have made for distros for a wide variety of distros.
Okay.
But there are other distros, for example, like Debian, that are by default up front open source, that have a whole non-free stack that you can pull in and add better performance and stuff like that. But Ubuntu has up front some of those binaries and stuff installed. So I would say it's not necessarily turning a free into a non-free. Like it's turning into a free focused, but modified for practicality. I think that's most Linux distros are like that too.
Okay.
Like pragmatism is a very important thing at this point.
So when I ran that Command Ubuntu report show, is that truly the entire thing that I've been sharing, A to Z?
100% the only thing you send.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And if you say no, I don't want to send it, the Ubuntu report show will still show you what it sends, which all it sends is opt out equal true.
Okay.
Michael, you're correct. It does not pull in the Adobe Flash plug installer.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was deprecated about a year ago. And I think that because of it was deprecated, it was removed. But I couldn't remember exactly. It was just
isn't there what's it called? Pepper Flash?
Pepper Flash.
Yeah, Pepper Flash is also kind of not important anymore either.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's way out.
Okay. All right.
Flash is at the,
That's
is
the
at the
Google-
level of
Google
90.
Chrome. Yeah, Google. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Pepper Flash is the Google Chrome version of Flash, isn't it?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. And there's also Fresh Player, which is like
Right.
a combination thing.
Right.
But like
yeah.
the main thing is that you don't really need Flash anymore because like 90% of things don't use it anymore. Like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, all of them have do HTML5 now. So like
Right.
it is almost irrelevant to even care about Flash. Like you might have occasional random things that still use Flash, but it is very small. The only thing I can think of that's big is Crunchyroll.
Toss, I've got to go. It's lunchtime.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. You're.
And
Yeah.
I'm having huge internet problems here as well. It's
okay.
just really bad today. So,
Oh.
look, I've had a blast talking to you guys. I'd like to stay around as long as you guys. But,
Yeah, I'll probably jump off here around 1 in the
yeah,
another
all
half
right.
hour. All right.
Okay, I'll see you guys later.
Take
Thanks.
care,
Take care,
Colin.
Colin.
Thank you for staying. Yeah.
Down.
Take
Bye.
care, buddy. Yeah. Ciao.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Yeah. Frostbite, you cannot find the Ubuntu reports in 17.10.1. Did you install it?
It's not in 1710.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
It only exists for 1804.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And also Ubuntu Mate does have the Ubuntu reports as well. But as far as I know, it's the only one that also has the only flavor that has it. I think there
really?
might be one other flavor, but I don't remember if they
Oh,
do or not.
okay. Yeah, I'm
But
running
no,
Ubuntu Mate now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the flavors, all the flavors should have. I think all distros should have something that gives some kind of data that you can choose to send or not. Now, if they want to turn off the opt-in and not send the information at all, that's up to the distro.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. If you want the other approach, instead of having an opt-in or opt-out, it's just choose yes or no. And if you choose no, it just doesn't send anything. If you want to do that, that's cool. Go ahead. I just think that the decision they made to send the no is good because it gives them information about knowing how many people say no. Otherwise, they have no reference point. So they can't tell you whether they have someone, whether if someone asks them like how many people say yes and no. Well, I don't know. So if they didn't send that information, they would all they would have is yeses. So
I made a point before that from what I see as a dual booter, and I do feel more secure in Linux and private than I do in Windows 10, obviously. But I think there would be if Ubuntu or ABC Linux or whatever were to cross that threshold that we talked about, I think there would be self-correcting market forces. So in other words, I would be saying that enough customers would stop using Ubuntu, or would, if they had crossed that thread, use something else. To where it would help. I
don't think they would even cross, but I think that you're right.
Speculating. Yeah, speculating.
The community would not stand for outright violations. Like, this is a arguable, debatable situation. If they were just straight up taking stuff and using identifiable information, if they were like basically a distro Facebook, I don't think anybody would argue for them.
Right.
I think even some of their employees would leave out of principle.
Yeah.
So maybe I agree that it probably would be replaced, but I just don't think they'll ever do that.
Well, Charlie has a question. If any open source does opt-in spying and opt-out spying, no matter how much data is collected, can it be true open source?
It's not spying, and open source has nothing to do with that.
I think you meant to say probably data collection, opt-in data collection, or opt-out data collection.
Nah, you can't accidentally say spying twice.
Okay.
Like if it was spying, they wouldn't tell you they're doing it. They wouldn't tell you what they're doing, and they wouldn't give you information to show you what they're getting. Like, and they wouldn't give you the choice. And it's like, it's not spying. It's voluntary information providing.
Perhaps is the potential to cross that threshold to be potentially spying.
No, I don't think. No, I don't even think so at all. The fact and the only way it crosses that threshold is if they don't give you the option.
Yeah.
And if they don't tell you. And data collection is not spying. If they tell you that's not what spying means. Spying specifically means that you don't know it's happening. And open source has nothing to do with any. There's no like requirement other than the fact that your source is open. Now, your source can be open in free license and be malicious. It's still technically open source.
All right, let me play James Bond here for a second. That Ubuntu report show thing that I just typed in the show, what was harmless. Is it possible that that's fake and they're faking us out, or that's what it is?
I mean, in this case, it's not possible because the source code is open. You can see what it's doing.
Okay.
In the sense of like the argument that they could show you something that they're not sending and send something else. Theoretically, a distro could do that. Any system could do that.
Okay.
But the fact that you can take the code of Ubuntu reports and see what it's making, like you know, it.
Okay.
I don't. It's unlikely that that's a thing.
So at this point, from what you've seen, we can trust that report. It is what it's saying.
That that is. Okay. I've looked in the source code of Ubuntu reports. That is all it sends.
Okay.
And it sends it to metrics.ubuntu.com.
Okay.
And it sends it through an HTTPS, so the connection is secure. The only thing they know is the IP that you would use to go to ubuntu.com's website in the first place, because that's automatically an IP you have to use your IP to go to the website or use a VPN. And you could send the system through. If you connect your network to a VPN, it would just know that your VPN sent the thing. Like they don't care how you send it to them. And if you have a VPN that's on an IP you use one time to send it to them and turn it off and never use again, fine, solved. They didn't know they wouldn't know anyway. But they don't keep the IP anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I mean, websites that are minuscule websites keep your IP, you know, that have no reason to do so, because they do like Google Analytics and things like that. Like worthless pages do that.
Okay. I was saying before that when I did the interview with Alan Pope from Ubuntu, it was a very pleasant chat. We spoke over an hour. It was great, but I cut it down. You know, I was telling my friends here that I don't think security ever popped into my head, or the thought of it. That's how secure I feel right now with Linux in general, even though there's been a lot of controversy. And it's good to have these open conversations so people, newbies, know what the heck's going on, or even people who are not newbies, as it were. But the conversation's good. It needs to be said. And I think both you guys, Switch and you, Michael, make valid points. You know, it's people need to be aware what's going. People need to understand it, and be aware that even though right now it seems harmless, there is the potential. I'm not saying that it will cross the threshold. There is the potential.
I still don't think there's a potential.
Well,
there's a possibility, but a potential implies that there's a likelihood. I don't think
then we'll use possibility. Yeah, we'll use the possibility. It's fine. We'll use that word.
Okay.
But I don't feel it now as a dual booter. You know, I don't right now. Windows 10 is my backup OS. That's how good Linux or Ubuntu Mate has gone for me anyway. You know, I don't really right now. The only time I'm booting into Windows if I do a Windows Wednesday. Talking about Windows for the Windows, or I have to update the system, you know, security, you know, updates or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's how good I think Ubuntu Mate and others, you like Ubuntu, and that's fine, has gotten. But I do feel
I like Ubuntu Mate. I actually contribute to it.
Okay, cool. All right, fair enough.
Like I like all of them. Like
okay.
Even though they're not my preferred desktop environment, I still contribute to a lot of their different projects, even if I don't.
Right.
I think Toss has a really valid point. You know, understanding is a big thing, especially for new people. And you know, let's face it, there are a lot of people out there in the Linux world, from a strict user perspective, for me, that should I say knee jerk in their reactions?
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
And the thing is that, you know, you have to get the people that you trust first and foremost, and you know, hear the debate, such as you and Tom had, Mike, and really think about, okay, is this important to me? Because at the end of the day, it's a value to me to know what my OS is doing.
Mhm.
If I don't
Yes.
really if I really
Yes.
don't give a rat's rear end,
Right.
then that's the way I'm going to be. I mean, I'm probably the only guy on here that regularly uses Gmail, and I'm going to be quite honest. I've been honest before. I use it because there's a convenience.
Yeah.
I use it because I like it.
Yeah.
And if Google wants to collect anything from me, so be it. You know,
I use it
if-
for
and-
non-file stuff, but I do use it too.
yeah, you know, and to me, it's kind of like I'm not going to take myself and put myself in this glass box with an internet cable running out of it. And whenever I feel like I've been misled or anything as such, I'm going to shut the window and chop off that cable. I'm going to switch OSs. That's a beautiful thing
Yeah.
about using
Yeah.
Linux for me. If I
Yeah.
don't like the direction a distro is going,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether it's the desktop environment to
Right.
the stuff that it offers out of the box, the
Right.
utilities that it offers out of the box that are helpful to me as a user. If I don't like
Yeah.
them or I like one or another, that's where I'm going to gravitate towards. The
I
whole
agree.
privacy, I think the whole privacy thing,
Yeah.
honestly, is blown way out of proportion. And I don't say that to hurt anybody's feelings, but let's face it,
Yeah.
we live in a digital world.
Yeah.
We take chances every time we walk out our front door, whether it be being hit by a school bus or having somebody get our data. And the only thing that you can do is be diligent with that, with everything that you do. You know, be careful what websites you visit. If you make online payments, take heed. You know, but
Make
you
sure your
look at-
passwords are different for every website.
yeah, exactly. The simple stuff like that. And I mean, there's good protocols there that, dare I say it, kind of take the whole privacy thing and the whole concern about data collection, and it kind of throws it out the window to a degree. Not completely, but to a large degree it does.
I mean, if it takes out the questionnaire, like you're focused on the idea of having, a plan to how you control your data, and I agree that people should care about their privacy. I'm not saying, like, for example, I've had people ask me if they should get Movie Pass, and I'm like, Movie Pass is cool because it allows you to watch movies for very cheap, going to the theaters for like $10 a month, and you can go like once a day, every day if you want to. That's a cool process. But they also have your allocation of exactly where you are, exactly at certain times of certain days that you go and watch it, and they know what theater you are,
Wow.
like within 5 to 10 minutes that you were there from when you got there until when you leave. Like, that is a level of
I didn't know
privacy.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't use that, but I didn't know that. Okay.
I think that's a little bit on the high side.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying, like, that the amount of data that they're collecting from people is like, that is too much for me. And I think at that point, that is, that's an extreme that I would not like. It seems like a good thing, but it's like, too much. But then on the other side, if there's a person who, like, whether it's a distro or whether it's a website that asks for my permission to do something, and they tell me what they want it to do, what they're asking for, the data that they're collecting from me, and what they want to use it for, I'm okay with it as long as they're transparent about it.
Yep. And that's all you can hope for, is that transparency. And for me, as this kind of more of a desktop user, not a real tech head, as long as there's transparency there, I'm good with it. And then it's left up to me to decide whether or not what they're disclosing to me fits with my own, call it technical morals, for lack of a better term. And if it fits, you know what? So be it. If they make a heck of a nice product, I'm going to use it. If I use it for a long enough time, I'm going to contribute to it the way I can.
Yeah, and also applies to, like, going to websites that track your involvement on their site. Like, that's beneficial because they know, for example, how many times someone goes to a specific page. They know. They don't have to know who you are, and they don't have to care who you are, but they want to know the interaction, because just the fact of going to that page with a certain amount of people and a rough area based on, like, because IP can actually be roughly about 20, 40 miles or so, which is not necessarily a good thing in some cases, like, depending on who's collecting the information. But you can obfuscate it and make it larger, like the way that Ubuntu is, where they don't use the IP at all. They just the way they get the time zone is you select it in the installer, and it just uses whatever you selected. So if you pick something that you don't even use and you send that data, go change it later, it's not going to send it again because it sends it one time. So like you could change the time zone if you want to and not be accurate, and then go back and change it to the right one if you want to.
This is priceless. Did you see that, Joe?
Yeah.
English Bob that said, may I ask you all to wish Prince Harry and Meghan a great wedding and mail them a copy of the Peppermint OS 8 DVD.
He sounds about excited as we are.
And we're going to put your name on it, Bob.
Oh, man.
Bob.
I was watching a news thing, and they're like, next topic is the Prince Harry and blah blah. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh man!
Like I don't wish anything negative to them.
But we have problems. Like here we have freaking potholes, man. I'm not worried about a wedding.
Like, it's a little creepy to be able to like want to watch some random person you don't know get married.
Well, it's the fantasy, the royal wedding. There was a true story. Was a joke. There was an actor, British actor, and he got an invitation by the Queen. She invited him overseas for a visit, and they're taking a horse and buggy ride, right? So they're talking, and I guess one of the horses farts, and the Queen says, "I'm sorry," and the guy says, "Oh, I thought it was the horse." I love it. Of course, he's a comedian. He may have been lying, but wonderful joke, story, whatever. But yeah, my mom's asking, "Have you seen?" I said, "No, Ma. I mean, I don't. There's nothing. I don't. I wish him the best as a marriage. Good luck, but that's it." So, and all this brouhaha about the really,
So they're fancy, like whatever.
Yeah, I already feel not all that great, so I don't think getting up and watching the.
Yes, I'm sure Tim will sleep better tonight knowing that they're gonna get married and have kids. Yeah,
I am. I'm gonna sleep through the royal wedding. I am gonna get up and watch some of the TV things surrounding.
You're gonna wind up taking a royal nap.
I'm gonna get up and watch some of the Indianapolis 500 stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm a motorsports guy.
Are you okay? I used to watch a little bit of that stuff when I lived in Florida, but I'm not really into that kind of stuff,
I used to watch MotoGP.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Good series.
Like it's insane the level of precision that they have to do to not kill themselves.
220 horsepower on a motorcycle that's about 380 pounds.
Yeah, all it's missing is a turbo booster, and you're good to go. Yeah.
But the fact that the way they take turns, like they go around turns, like the fact that they have to get within like an inch of the ground on their knee. If you just slightly go too much, you're dead. Like
Jesus.
Because like there could be people who like if you crash, like though they have tons of gear, so if they crash, it's probably okay. Mm-hmm. But let's say you're in the middle of a pack and you do that, and then like people just run over you, and you create an even bigger mess. Like. That like it's amazing that they do it, and I would never do that. I mean, I'm okay with riding a motorcycle, but not like not gonna do that.
I had to drop off my son's car to get service. It won't be done till Monday. So one of my friends picked me up when he was just looking at car shopping. We went downtown and they had this used Beamer. They'd pop open the hood and it said twin turbos, and just the thought of saying twin turbos, ooh, But of course, there's special maintenance, and special oils, and the expanse. So my friend and I were talking, and I said, you know what? That all black, nice-looking Nissan Maxima looks nicer and it's cheaper. He says, okay, let's go test drive that one. So,
No, I'm good with whatever car. If the car works, and isn't leaking stuff, I don't care.
You're just a purely pragmatic. Whatever works, use it. OSs and cars, okay.
100% utilitarian.
Well, I had the same car for 18 years.
Really? Which car was it?
It was a Mustang.
Oh, okay, a Ford. Lasted that long? Wow, okay. I mean, there's a no joke Ford found on road dead.
Yeah, I mean, I did not treat it well either.
There we go with the Ford versus Chevy.
I have no fight in this. And I have
Dodge is dead on day guarantee expires. There's others. If you look it up, there's a whole bunch.
There's ones for European cars. Lotus, I think, is lots of trouble, usually serious.
Do you know what Fiat is? Fix it again, Tony.
Yeah.
Fix it again, Tony.
Have you seen those commercials, the real people, not actors commercials that Chevy do that are absolutely actors? Like that have been proven to be actors. And there was someone started doing like parodies of those commercials. And at one point, there's one where they take the badges and the symbols and the whatever off the car, and people are like, "Guess what kind of car it is?" And the guy who's doing the parody goes like, "It's a Chevy Malibu," like obviously.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know. This could be like a Mercedes." And then one of them was like, said something like, "It's like a mix between a BMW and a Lexus." And the guys like the parodies is like, "Are you high?"
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that's not even a thing.
Michael, I'll tell you the story. I think most of my friends know here, but years ago, my cousin was shopping for a new Lexus. I drove up with him. There's a Lexus dealership in Pittsburgh, and he didn't know what to buy. Does he want an SUV, a car? He was waffling back and forth. So we went in the dealership that he usually goes to. He says, "You know what? I like this car." He was looking at the car, not the SUV, the ES350, whatever it was. I think it was sticker like 38. He says, "You know what? I'm not sure. I'll offer 36. They'll say no. We'll go grab coffee, and then I'll think about it on the way home." So my cousin goes to go to the restroom. The guy comes out. "We offer 36. He goes, I guess he talks to his boss. He comes out almost immediately. "Where's your daddy? We'll take the offer." It wasn't my dad, it was my cousin. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're going to take $2,000 off a Lexus off the sticker without dickering? Anyway, so they did. So, but it wasn't the right color. The guy says, "Don't worry, we'll get your color." I think it was silver that he wanted. "Don't worry, we'll find. We'll call around like what Tim's going through, I think." So we went there in the office, paperwork and this and that, and he's making calls to find the car, and I'm like, "How long is this going to take?" And the manager says, "Well, this is Tuesday." And, "Well, we have a free masseuse on duty." I'm sorry, I thought you said a masseuse. They had a lady while you're waiting to give you a massage while you're waiting to service your car or buying a car. I'm like, Michael, when somebody says something that's so out there, whether it's Linux, and you go and you're like, huh? So, but I'm like, okay, prove it. And sure, I walked in the back and private room, and you sit in the chair like this, and she's giving me the rub down, and I'm like, this is really tough shopping for a car. God, but anyway, she did that. Like, it's not long, 10-15. I gave her a nice tip, and then they have the really nice coffee machines, as Tim knows, and at my place, they had the Italian biscotti. They treat you like royalty. Not a royal wedding. They treat you like royalty.
Well, otherwise, that's not enough.
Not enough. Okay.
It has to be a royal wedding. Honestly.
Okay. Anyway, they went out of their way. So, and I used to have a Toyota, right? And when I had the Toyota, I would get stuff in the mail, postcard. "We give you top dollar for your Toyota, top trade. Come on and see us at ABC Automotive." I traded it in for a Buick. It's the silence. Nothing. No phone calls. Nothing. So what does that tell you?
I think American car makers just kind of take it for granted that you're going to buy this, and within a certain amount of time, you're going to get sick of taking it back for service.
You take
and sooner or later, the wheels are going to fall off.
Well, that's why they went. That's why GM and Chrysler went bankrupt. Had to be bailed out. It isn't because they built the best cars. That wouldn't make sense. But John Petrie says, "A bankrupt at a car dealership. Where the heck have I been?" Well, apparently to the wrong dealerships, John. Oh man, I mean, it's I learned how to buy cars from a friend of mine when I lived in Florida. He taught me all the tricks of the trade and stuff. And there is a science behind how to shop for a car. There is an operating system behind it, which is your head, you know. But it can be a tedious, as Tim knows, it can be, even if you know what you're doing, it can be a tedious experience.
Time consuming, a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you know exactly what you want, that's the best way. You know exactly what you want, the color you want, the price you want, and that's where you can save hours, days, weeks, months shopping for a car. Who knows?
I can save I can do it in 10% of what time it takes. Craigslist.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Well, I use the internet to comparison shop. It does help. I don't use Craigslist.
No, I mean that's it. You go to Craigslist, first thing you see, that's it.
Okay. Well, then that would be easy.
Roll the dice. I'm feeling lucky. Craigslist.
There you go.
You know,
All right, it is 1 o'clock here. I'm going to wrap this up soon. For everybody in the chat, if you have any last-minute questions or comments, please ask them now, okay? Once again, check out Switch to Linux on YouTube, Michael at Tux Digital. Check out their links. You can support them through Patreon.
So we're almost done. Now I can take something that's just going to knock me out.
I will be honest. I want to get off before Tim just goes and gets knocked out altogether. You know, he's been a good sport to stay on.
Hey, honey, do I count as an adult and children 12 and over? She's smiling. 10 milliliters every 4 hours.
You know, the main ingredient of that is probably alcohol. Just take a shot of whiskey, man.
Yeah.
No.
What did you come down with, Tim?
Well, I'll make this story as short as I can. Last weekend on Mother's Day, my wife and I went out with some friends of the family and had Mother's Day. I sat down and I ate a 28-ounce porterhouse steak in one sitting, 28 ounces.
Holy cow.
And a whole flowerette, not a little flowerette, but a whole stalk of broccoli, you know, as big as a softball.
Oh.
By Wednesday, I wasn't feeling too good digestively, let's just say. And my fever shot up on Wednesday night to like 102. Grabbed some ibuprofen, sweated it out, felt pretty decent yesterday. Now today, I've got this ear, nose, and throat thing, cough, sneeze, and my temperature. My wife just took it when she came down here, and it was 100, a little bit over 100. So.
Yeah, I hope you get better, because hope you don't keep doing the better.
Well, you know what? I can't think of any better spokesperson tonight than Tim for giving us a true sense of community. No matter what, the show must go on. So thank you, Tim.
Not a problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome.
He had to leave to see English, Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, I get it. You know, the thing is, either you lay in bed or you sit with a bunch of us guys and get just as bored and sleepy. So,
well, it does. I do believe in the power of positive thing, because if you're doing something enjoyable, which I hope this is, this could only help you. You know.
Yeah.
Like a few laughs. They say laughter is the best medicine, and it probably is. Besides enough fluids, besides medicine, yeah.
Drugs. Give me drugs.
Ludes. So you gotta take 2 ludes every 2 hours, okay? And you'll be okay,
drugs.
Man.
Give me my freaking blankie. Give me my duck.
If he took 2 ludes every 2 hours, he'd be a zombie. I mean, a real zombie.
And the dog lays next to me, and I'm good.
Oh man!
Oh Lord!
I love doing my Al Pacino impression from Scarface.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You want to know something? I think you do him better than you do the Italian.
You know, man. You know what's funny? My friend has a cat named Toby. So one day I saw my friend. Hey, Toby Montana, look at the cat, man. Toby. No.
Got it. I have to ask one question here in closing.
Yeah.
Tom's been over there working diligently.
I know, really.
Diligently.
Yeah.
So
have you fixed it?
How far are you on the Debian install?
Yeah.
Oh, it's done. I'm just configuring the panels and stuff.
Okay.
What desktop?
So the I went with Cinnamon.
Of course.
I have Debian. I have all my software installed. I haven't moved over my mobile home folder yet, but
okay.
take just a minute.
Okay. Debian's good. Debian stable is stable. I've used it in the past. It's not bad.
Well, it's one of the systems I know I should be able to compile that app and operating system on. So
it's pretty snappy.
Boiled down to. Oh yeah, I mean, this is actually on my crappy computer too, so it's
Yeah.
Everybody's giving advice. Vitamin C.
Exercise. yeah. I don't. Maybe at 101, maybe X may not be. Yeah.
Johan, you know what? I love your comment, but ain't happening, brother.
Good one.
It's hard to salute the flag when your hand's pointed at the floor, my friend.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Dobry says hi. Hello, Dobry. How you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Oh boy.
Hot shower. I don't know about that, Steve. Taking a hot shower.
It'll jack my temperature up more.
Yeah, I just think rest, fluids, drink even when you're not thirsty. Obviously, if the temperature is the key. If it goes up, you need to go to the hospital.
Yep.
If you still feel like crap, but the temperature goes down, you're doing something right.
Yep.
But the temperature is the key, so make sure it drops.
You're fighting an infection somewhere. Yeah.
Right. So.
Well, I'll get there. I'm not a spring chicken. I'm not as young as people like Toss and Joe, and so.
I look like the oldest man here. I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Oh, come on, Joe. You aren't farting dust yet.
I like that. Oh my. Oh God, that was a good one.
At our age, you got to make sure you trust it when you do it.
Next comes the Depends commercial, right?
No, that came from. Have any of you guys ever seen? I can't remember the name right off the top of my head. It's the movie with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson, and they both get diagnosed with cancer.
Is that Bucket List or something?
Bucket List. Yeah, my wife has said Bucket List.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson says something to Morgan Freeman, and I'll do this clean, but he said there's three things that you don't. There's three things that you never do. What's that on? Never trust a fart. Never waste an erection. And there's something else. I can't remember what it is. Oh, and never pass up a bathroom. Never pass up a bathroom.
Never trust a fart. I didn't know certain farts could be trustworthy.
It depends on what kind of data collection is being sent.
It depends on how much methane is in the.
Well, didn't DistroTube say the other day he stopped at lunch and got Taco Bell?
Oh wow!
And then that night he had he's from Louisiana, so they eat a lot of I can't recall the type of food. It's Creole food or something. And that night he had like brown beans and rice and cornbread. Oh my God!
You know, sometimes
my dog would hang around with me for 3 days if I ate that crap.
Just think of the images that people are going to go.
The dogs go. You know, sometimes as an Italian,
as she's sitting here looking at her
I'll
butt.
overeat, and then at night it's like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir coming out of my butt, man. I can't fall asleep because it's just the trombones or whatever, the voices are coming out, you know. But even to me, it's disgusting, you know.
You know what? I just realized here we are back on food again.
Yeah.
we almost.
We're trying to. I gave Tim advice on whiskey instead of that, and then we got Cajun food and gumbo and. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh boy. We can really go down. Speaking of slippery slopes.
Yeah. Something smelly going on here. Yes, Johan. Yeah. I mean, the show really stinks now. Yeah.
If you blame it on me, it's my fever-induced partial coma. That's it.
There you go. We've gone from Ubuntu to farts. There for sure.
I wonder if that would demonetize you.
Who knows? I've been pretty lucky so far. I've been.
It seems like lately you mention the word Linux and you get demonetized. So
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
The word Linux?
I'm pretty sure. I'm feeling it.
Maybe the Autobot thinks instead of Linux you're saying something that's bad, but what could possibly be close word to Linux? I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
it
Microsoft's pulling YouTube strings and tell them if they're talking about Linux, pull demonetize. Let's get a real conspiracy theory going. Let's start a big
Forrest Gumbo coming to a screen near you, okay?
Here goes all the memes.
Really, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we could probably do that. We could just throw out some real Tom foolishness and then just watch the chat go nutty.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
What
All
a
right,
deal.
let's see. I think caught up on the stream. I don't think I missed anything. No one's asking any questions. We're going to food thing, which I'm starting to get hungry again, and that's not good at 1 o'clock in the morning. Anyway.
Thanks for the invite once again, Toss. Pleasure to be here with you and the others.
Thank you for stopping by, and I know you don't feel good, but we'll talk again. All
Tom,
right,
you and Joe. Tom, you and Joe take care, and Michael, it was my pleasure meeting you. Keep up the good work.
Yeah. All right, to everybody in the live chat, thank you. Join us again next Friday, and always for a lively discussion again. But this is what's all about: being transparent in our discussions, and maybe we can all learn something. So I'm going to stop the broadcast. If you guys want to stick around a little bit more privately, it's fine. But everybody in the chat, the live chat, thank you. If you have any questions about comments or whatever about Linux, you can stop here, stop at Tom's channel, switch to Linux, Tux Digital. Tux, you still have your live show every Saturday, right? Usually?
Yeah, my every Saturday afternoon.
And what time? That's Eastern time, right?
Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Ish.
Check. Ish.
Yeah.
Any time between 1 and 6 p.m. you should be on. No.
That is sadly accurate to what it.
Okay. See, we're transparent, even when it's not to our advantage, as it were.
It's somewhere between 1 and 5 was probably the most like.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like it sticks a little too much. I mean,
I should be on 5, but check my channel in case, because I'm doing it with somebody. So it kind of depends on what we do, but 5 is what we're shooting for.
Okay. All right, people in the live chat, there you go. So I'm going to end the broadcast now. Thank you, and I'll catch you next week.
Take care.
Later.